If you could only see me now, I was plugging in your headphone. I was
I
on
don't know
my
what was going on.
knees.
Where did the time come from all of a sudden?
I just don't know. We were caught off guard. The truth is, I was on my knees plugging in your headphones, and then you were footering on your computer, and then the music kicked in. Thank God that music kicked in.
I know, we'd have been in both of that dead air.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, you watched the boxing, did you?
I stayed up. I was
But
looking
you got
so
the time wrong.
Huh?
You got the time wrong.
I said, well, you see, 8 minutes after. What's use all with the time? Sure, it's probably about 10:15. What time was it then?
Probably a bit about after that.
Yeah, but it was good. You watched
was
it, didn't because you're big
exciting.
boxing. What did you think?
I thought it was good. Yeah, amateur boxing is a bit chaotic. It's different to professional boxing because everything's so compact and confined and stuff.
3 rounds is pretty.
3 rounds, but it's scored in a way where you have to be very busy and active. Do you know what I mean? So it's
And you
kind
can't get hit.
No, you don't want to get hit.
No, you don't want to get hit, Phils.
And yeah, did I? You mentioned to me about chickens or hens
Yes, it was flagged up
because
to
you've got 2 asses, don't you?
I know I have one ass.
Right. Do you have any goats?
I have Lady Gaga and no goats. And somebody
I thought you had 2 asses.
No, well, I had 3.
All right.
We had
so
Lady Gaga, Miriam and Miriam D. Yeah.
Indeed.
And so we have Lady Gaga now.
All right, just the Gaga.
Just
and you
the
want
Gaga.
chickens now?
Yeah, so we're looking at 3 chickens. So I want a low maintenance hen pen if possible. A coop. And I've been Googling away. Do you know there's a wee drawer that comes out and you can scrape out the poop?
Yes.
Something handy.
Yeah.
3 chickens.
So is it a case of getting one built, or can you buy them ready-made?
Well, I don't know what'll be the best.
Because they need a run as well.
I was going to contact a men's shed maybe to see what the crack was.
Okay.
But so apparently 3 chickens can give you 90 eggs in a month. That's a
all
lot,
right,
isn't it?
Yeah, okay. So you're looking for advice on chicken coops.
Yes. What is the best, or does anybody make them or sell them, or what's the
Can
story?
you not make it yourself?
Well, I'd like to do it right. It's for wee Lee, you see. So,
Yeah.
do you know? But we could have fun making it ourselves too. Do you know?
Just some 2B1s and some mesh.
No, but I'm going to see what kind of stuff I have about me shed, and maybe I could pull something together.
But you're also looking for advice.
Yes.
And you need to
Well,
make-
did you have any chickens?
No, I don't.
I know they can do a bit of messy stuff about the place, but sure. Do you know?
Yeah, but not if you have a proper.
Yeah.
The
And the
chicken
big
hatch.
bad wolf, the fox,
Foxes.
Mr. Todd.
Mr. Todd.
Do you know what I mean? He's about the place.
Right, so if you're looking for some
And here's a
advice.
question for you. We have a cat called Tiddles, right?
Tiddles.
Will Tiddles chase the chickens?
That's a very good question.
Or is the chicken too big for the Tiddles?
Well, the chickens chickens are in the coop, so you
No,
want
but
to
see
know.
if you let them wander around the lawn,
Oh no, they'll coexist.
would they be happy
Yeah.
enough?
Any names yet? No.
No, I have. See, it was a Mary that suggested, go on, get Lee a wee chicken. So I says, I'm going to call the first chicken Mary, and
Yeah.
the other one's going to be called Johnny, and I'm stuck for the third chicken's
So
name.
we're looking for the name Mary. Johnny,
Call it
and-
Greg, maybe. Come on, Greg. Daddy.
You can call it Eggs, Greg.
Not even
They've
go
my,
there.
they've my hairstyle.
Yeah, so any advice on chickens,
Just
let
don't
me know.
wash the poo off the eggs. Don't wash the eggs because it's that film around them that keeps them fresh for longer. That's why your eggs go off so quick because they're
He's
washed.
serious.
Yes, 100%.
So keep the poop on them.
Well, it's just the film on them, yeah. That's
On
what-
the shell.
On the shell, yeah.
That kind of
That
conserves it.
is nature's way of stopping
I
it going
didn't
off.
know that.
And that's
See?
why the ones in the shop are washed and it's lost that nature's coating.
Right.
Yeah. Rejoin me tomorrow morning at 9 for some more
I could bring you
interesting
new
facts.
fresh eggs in the morning. How do you like your eggs in the morning? Daddy, we could have boiled eggs.
Let's do it. Right, well, you need to get your chicken coop and I need to get on
Go on,
with
you
the show.
find out for me,
All
right?
we'll sort you out. We'll try and get some advice how to build a chicken coop. All right, 9 o'clock, a minute past 9 in fact. Let's get a news update. It's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. Almost 5,000 people died in Irish emergency departments over the course of the past 5 years. A new report from the Irish Medical Times shows over 1,000 of those deaths happened last year alone, 200 more than in 2019. Letterkenny University Hospital had 40 ED fatalities last year compared to 21 in 2019, while Sligo had 38 last year compared to 18 5 years ago. The author of the report is Michael McHale.
The numbers of people who have been dying in EDs across the country has been rising. In fact, in 17 of the country's 26 EDs, they've seen rising rates in 2023 compared to 2019.
There's a chronic shortage of second-hand homes for sale across Ireland. New analysis from myhome.ie shows around 12,000 second-hand properties on the market in July, a 50% drop on a decade ago. The managing director of myhome.ie, Joanne Geary, said Munster had the largest drop, followed by Connacht and the border counties.
The province that's been most affected is Munster, with a 61% drop in properties in the decade. Connaught, if we take in the three border counties, is down 59%, and a 36% decline in Leinster. Dublin experienced a 19% drop during the same period, which shows that there is very much a chronic supply issue. It's more acute outside of capital.
A 15-year-old boy is due in court later today in connection with recent rioting in South Belfast. Disorder since an anti-immigration protest on Saturday has included businesses being targeted and police attacked with petrol bombs. Meanwhile, the PSNI is investigating a spate of hate crime incidents last night in other parts of the city. 3 arrests have been made after a car was rammed into an estate agent's on Woodvale Road, while in West Belfast a boy was assaulted and a supermarket attacked. West Belfast MLA Jerry Carroll says local people came out to stand against the violence.
I think what we saw quite quickly was a community response of community workers, youth workers, anti-racist campaigners, political reps, including myself, stood with the shop to say that we won't tolerate any kind of attacks on anybody in our community, whether that be their homes or their shops. So a very, very strong community response.
And community childcare and Meals on Wheels services are to benefit from a funding boost. An extra €10 million is being invested to be shared among 400 community providers across the country, some of them in Donegal. Each will receive up to €25,000. Health Minister Stephen Donnelly says such community organisations provide invaluable services.
We're announcing a €10 million fund for day centres and for Meals on Wheels community services around the country. As people will be aware, there are hundreds of community-based centres all over Ireland. There are daycare services where people go in. Sometimes they go in for companionship. Sometimes they go in for help with various things in their lives. They're amazing services.
Weather forecast cloudy this morning with showers feeding in from the west. The showers easing this afternoon. Sunny spells will develop in highs of 16 to 18 degrees Celsius. And that's Highland Radio News. There's more on our website, highlandradio.com. And we're back with news again at 10 o'clock. Good morning.
From training to triumph, from journey to jubilation, from green to gold. As official partner to the Irish Olympic team, Deloitte is incredibly proud to support Team Ireland as they inspire us all on the world's greatest sporting stage. See the possibility, see the impact at Deloitte.ie.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning to you. It's 5 minutes past 9 on this Wednesday, the 7th of August, and you're very welcome along to another edition of the 9 till noon show. With our usual mix as well. We're going to have reaction to the wonderful performance of Kelly Harrington last night. Mark English is running just after 11 o'clock, so we'll keep an eye on that and have some reaction for you on that. That's just extra to what you can always expect on the show across all the big stories of the day, breaking the stories, highlighting the issues that are important to you. You do that by getting involved with us on 086 60 25,000. We're going to be talking about respite care at St. Joseph's Hospital a little later on. Maybe you were informed that it's no longer available. You've got something to say. Get in touch with us right now. 07491 25,000 if you wish to give us a call. As always, you can watch the show on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, on the X platform and across Facebook. Okay, let's start with a look at the newspapers. The Finn Valley Voice this morning. 34 new houses are to be added to the existing beaches development outside Ballybofey. Not one of them will be sold as a holiday home. Houses across the western seaboard of Donegal are left lying empty for most of the year, bought by wealthy urbanites as holiday homes. And while the Finn Valley is less blighted by holiday homes than other areas, Donegal County Council is determined to solve such problems before they arise. Applicant Longmarsh Development Limited has been given the go-ahead to proceed with the houses, provided that they shall be used as permanent homes only. They're not allowed to be used for the purpose of holiday homes. I wonder, are they allowed to be used for short-term lets as well? I wonder, is that really what they're talking about here as well? The holiday home clause is one of a number of tough restrictions imposed on the company. They will also be expected to fully complete all infrastructure such as roads, play areas, service connections and footpaths. As I say, I find that a fascinating condition, and whilst a holiday home could be one use for those houses, I wonder, is that also sort of an indication of a discouragement of short-term letting as well. I don't know how that's informed after the fact, but anyway, that's the story. It's an interesting one and asks a lot of questions and answers a lot of questions as well. The Irish Times will start with a good news story. She did it in what was her last ever international amateur fight. Kelly Harrington came to the gilded courts of Roland Garros and kept stockpiling firsts. She was smooth and clinical, like she's been all through the boxing competition here, and it brought her to a place no Irish boxer has ever been. By beating Wenlu Yang of China in a split decision, the Dublin fighter became the first Irish woman to successfully defend an Olympic gold medal in any sport. She is the first Irish boxer, male or female, to so much as make a gold medal fight in multiple Olympics, not to mind win them both. She's the greatest Irish Olympic boxer in history. She is eternal. It gives hope to all these young kids, all these teenagers. It gives hope to them, she said afterwards. But this was one. This one was for me, because apparently she's had a very tough year or 2 years. I'm not sure of the details of what led to that. Maybe it will come out in time. I don't know. But it was obviously very important to her. Listening to her family commenting on it, they obviously felt that they in some way had lost Kelly for the last year or so, and her brother was saying, well, we have Kelly back now. So it was obviously significant to her. And as Oshie was saying and Lee was saying, it'll be interesting now to see if she does a couple of years in the pro ranks. She could do very, very well. I mean, women's boxing is huge at the moment, obviously thanks to the likes of Katie Taylor and Serrano and others. But if the truth be told, there's a lot of titles, and the talent pool is quite thin. So I have absolutely no doubt that if you wanted to turn pro within a couple of fights, you could certainly be a world champion. There's no doubt about that, because, as I say, whilst women's boxing is strong, the talent pool is actually still rather thin. We'll see. We're going to be speaking to some people who would know better than I a little later on, and we'll see if she'll turn pro. The Irish Independent this morning, the government has approved proposals to give judges the discretion to recommend minimum jail sentences for those sentenced to life imprisonment. Treason and murder are subject to mandatory life sentences in Ireland. Life in prison may also be imposed for a range of other serious offences, including rape, attempted murder and assault causing serious harm. The draft law proposes that when sentences are being handed down, judges will make a recommendation on what minimum term should be served in prison before parole is granted. We see this in other countries. The parole board will be required to take that recommendation into account in making its decision. It'll be a non-binding recommendation, and the parole board will continue to be responsible for deciding when a person will be released. Now, I can understand where they're coming from in giving judges more powers, but the problem most people have is that there are some judges, not locally, but particularly across the country, that do have this level of discretion, even though in some cases it's binding, in others it's recommendations, and it's not enforced. And some of the reasons as to why people get off suspended sentence, light sentences, make no sense. So whilst a judge might be able to propose or recommend a minimum jail term, the judges at times can make some quite strange decisions. Jobless figures rise to a 2-year high, I read in the Irish Daily Mail. Unemployment in Ireland has now risen for the past 5 months, growing to 4.7% as other job losses in the tech sector looms. There are over 16,000 more people unemployed in 2024 compared with last year, according to analysis from the Central Statistics Office. The 4.7 unemployment rate rose in July to a 29-month high, with new figures show. The last time unemployment was over 4.5% was March 2022. These are nervous times, said Chief Economist at Grant Thornton Ireland, Andrew Webb. He added that with more people unemployed in the past year, we are less able to fall back on the comfort blanket that the labour market remains strong relative to years gone by. So there is a trend. Now, I'm not sure, it's not seemingly in the figures here. I mean, there are more people in the country that would be entitled to social welfare. There have been job losses announced, so I'm not sure where the breakup is in that regard. But anyway, certainly well worth digging in to a little bit further. Taoiseach Simon Harris says there can be no hiding place for those who threaten politicians after a sinister warning was made online about the TD and his family. This is in the Irish Daily Star. It emerged yesterday that the Gardaí are investigating online threats to the Taoiseach and his wife and children. Others were alerted to the Instagram posts in which a person allegedly claimed they had knives out for Mr. Harris. The horrific posts are also understood to have stated they're coming for you, and I think it's your poor wife and kids. They'll take it. Sorry. They'll make. Sorry. Okay, I'll read this one more time because it is just a direct quote. The horrific posts are also understood to have stated they're coming for you, and I think it's your poor wife and kids they'll take to the Wicklow Mountains. And one of the chilling posts signs off with the words "Stay tuned." The threats are understood to have remained online for 2 days after Gardaí were asked Instagram to remove them. Instagram Meta, so they own WhatsApp and they own Facebook as well. Now, some people might say, "Oh, well, that's just hurty words. Look at what's happening elsewhere and this, that, and that." But words do matter, you know. And if these kind of posts, this kind of attitude can foster a way of thinking, and I don't think anyone, and I hope no one, would want to see a situation whereby politicians are in fear of their lives, or indeed, like we've seen in other countries, are attacked or what have you. You know, you may not like what they do, you may disagree with them, but we do have democracy here, and we do have an ability to vote people one way or other. And the dark hole we're going down through doesn't really appeal to me at all. Thomas de Micheál Martin, he then branded Elon Musk and his ex-social media platform problematic as he called for an EU-wide clampdown on web misinformation. Minister Martin said there were very real issues in how social media has facilitated violence here and in the UK in recent weeks. He said the Telegram platform was used during the Dublin riots and massive traffic from North America was pumped into Ireland during these disturbances. He told Radio Kerry some social media platforms cooperate with state authorities, others don't. I think Elon Musk and I think X is problematic. They have a totally different approach to this. But the problem is Elon Musk and X has set themselves up as, you know, the voice of anti-establishment. They say the mainstream media are feeding people government rhetoric and nonsense, and this is the platform. X is the platform whereby you can say what you like with little or no consequences, and so on and so forth. So then when you get the people sort of that X is targeting, i.e. government leaders saying we need to do something about X, and it plays into Elon Musk's hands. He loves that because that sort of proves his point, and on it goes and on it goes. It's just messy. I just don't use the platform as much as I once did. The Sun this morning reports on the story we've been leading with. More than 5,000 people died in hospital emergency departments in the past 5 years, including over 1,000 last year alone. The data from the country's 26 EDs shows that Cork University Hospital saw the highest number of patients die in its emergency ward. Last year, 158 people were pronounced dead there, down from 183 the year before. Letterkenny University Hospital had 40 emergency department fatalities last year compared to 21 in 2019. That's the pre-pandemic figure, isn't it? While Sligo had 38 in 2023 compared to 18 years ago. And also, not all hospitals retain the amount of time someone was in the ED before they died. But I was looking at some figures in that report. It was actually the Irish Medical Times that sourced this information. Some of them were waiting 9, 10, 11, 12 hours and then died in the ED. Do you know what I mean? They weren't there like half an hour or an hour. Like, in other words, they weren't so ill that their time was so fleeting. They were actually in the ED space for 9, 10, 11, 12 hours in some cases. I don't have the figures for Letterkenny, those hospitals down in Dublin, but there's something seriously wrong, isn't there, that someone can be in the emergency department for 9, 10, 11, 12 hours and die in that space. You know, surely families must feel there was a window of opportunity to do something to try and prevent those deaths. It must be incredibly difficult, I'm sure. If that's something perhaps you've had an experience with, and I'm incredibly conscious that it might be very difficult to talk about, but maybe you did have a loved one who was a long time in the emergency department and you feel that maybe if they had have been admitted earlier, the outcomes might have been different, because these are just figures and they don't really tell the story of the reality and the pain. So if you want to get involved in that conversation, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Finally, and far more trivial, streaming channel GEA Go could lose rights to broadcast the GEA's controversial €79 pay-per-view service, but not to RTE. It emerged yesterday the sporting body is seeking expressions of interest from broadcasters who want to buy the right to air All-Ireland Senior Football and Hurling Championship games in Ireland. GEA Go is a joint commercial partnership between the GEA and RTE, and is only available to subscribers, meaning many Gaelic games are not shown on free-to-air television. Ideally, RTE would get more games, Virgin Media would get a few games. There's always going to be, I think, a pay-per-view platform that should be there because it shows games that ordinarily you might not see. How that all plays out, I don't know. It's a competitive, open situation now. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it just improves for the fans. That's all you might want. Right, okay. I'm not going to go through the numbers again. You know the situation there, don't you? We'll be joined by our first guests on the 9 till noon show after we take a short break.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Need rapid care for a minor injury or fracture? Why wait when you can be seen today at Kingsbridge Northwest's Minor Injuries and Fracture Clinic? See a GP with A&E experience and avail of further scans or surgery with highly trained nurses, radiologists and orthopaedic surgeons on site. Available Monday through to Saturday for Leia insured and self-paying patients. Visit kingsbridgegpclinic.com today for further information.
TFI Local Link operates evening and weekend services throughout rural Ireland to help you stay connected 7 days a week. We know life doesn't just happen 9 to 5, so if you're commuting, shopping, visiting family or going out in the evenings or on the weekends, let TFI Local Link take you there. Visit transportforireland.ie.
Farmers, listen up. This one's for you. The Cultivate loan is at B&SCU. For machinery new or second hand, upgrade your barns, make your land grand. At B&S Credit Union, we are here for you with Cultivate loans to help dreams come true. Livestock, cash flow, working capital too. For all your needs, we've got the view. Need more sheep or cash bush today? The Cultivate loan will help pave the way. From sheds to tractors, whatever you need, we're here to help to plant the seed. Visit bnscu.ie/cultivate. B&S Credit Union will help make your farm great. Join us today and cultivate right. With BNSCU, your future is bright. Loans are subject to approval. Terms and conditions apply. B&S Credit Union Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Shekalaha ama Highland Radio. Arna Dortugat ag Airgrid. Uproar agus forbor ango letrahas na Hearn. Airgrid. Pobl aguachtu, era aguachtu. Teshe.
So it's 20 minutes past 9. We're going to kick off with water. We were speaking to a lady yesterday as it relates to water outage in Bomini. This is a couple of houses, in fairness. They're on an elevated site that for the last 3.5 years have had very low water pressure. And for long periods of time, including right about now, a couple of them have no water at all. And the lady we were speaking to yesterday, 7 people living in the house, a fortune spent on laundrettes, a fortune spent on buying bottled water. And yesterday, a young girl in the house was going to her prom, having to leave the house on that special day to go to a neighbour's house or a family member's house to get ready. Not the biggest crisis in the world, that element of it, but still you can imagine. So as committed, we got on to Uisce Éireann to see what they had to say about this, because there was a level of frustration that they'd made 50 representations to no avail. A local councillor had said to them that he felt he was hitting his head against a brick wall. So this is Uisce Éireann's response to that specific issue in Bomini. Uisce Éireann is aware of ongoing issues with a small number of elevated properties on the south side of Letterkenny due to higher demand and challenges with the existing infrastructure. Due to increased demand in Letterkenny, water supply issues at the most elevated properties in Bonamy, Newmills, Tullygay and surrounding areas are being experienced. Operations staff are making every effort to maintain water supply to customers in these areas as much as possible. In addition to a dedicated leakage reduction project, local operations staff are monitoring and optimising flows and pressures in the town around the clock. Unfortunately, bursts have a significant impact on these customers because they are elevated and they are the first to lose supply and the last for supply to return. A longer-term solution to address these supply issues for customers in Letterkenny is currently at design stage, which includes examining the feasibility of an additional pump station to serve the area. Now, that is the silver bullet. I had very little prior knowledge of this, but obviously to me, it was a pump station to get the water up higher. Uisce Éireann goes on to say it understands and apologises for the inconvenience of unplanned water supply outages, and we thank customers for their patience while our crews work to ensure that a normal water supply is returned as quickly as possible. Uisce Éireann anticipates that the interim measures implemented will reduce the outages for customers as much as possible in these areas over the coming months of high seasonal demand. Now, what it says to me, that press release says to me, is that Uisce Éireann concedes that there are going to be outages in this area, that there's not much they can do in the interim. It's just going to be part of life because the rest of Letterkenny is sucking the water. But they are examining the feasibility of an additional pump station to serve the area. And until such time that is done, if the truth be told, the level of service in the likes of Bonamy, New Mills, Tullygay and surrounding areas will continue. So that's all we can do for you. It's not all we can do, but that is the situation as it stands. Uisce Éireann knows the problem. It says it can only try and stop it happening into the future. It seems to concede it is going to happen into the future, and it also accepts that really the possibility or the feasibility or the reality is an additional pump station is going to be required to serve the area. And if it were me, that's where the pressure needs to be kept on. When is that pump going to be fitted? When is that pump station going to be put into operation? Because until such time it is, I think the situation is going to persist. Right, we were talking about water outages in West Donegal yesterday. It is blighted with them. Owen's with us now. Good morning, Owen.
Yes, Greg, how are you getting on?
I'm okay.
That's good.
Right, I mean, your interest in water is not just in terms of the sort of current supply, the current issues. You were, like many of us out there, were involved in the water charges campaign.
That's right, Greg. I certainly was, and it's kind of interesting that this comes up again, even though the water charges campaign seems, well in the background. But I'll tell you what focused my mind yesterday, and listening to your excerpt there will be some of the issues on there as well. Just to remark on what you're reading out there, one thing that jumped out at me was in the wording of Irish Water, they use the word customer. Now, the thing about it is, we're citizens of the state, and one of the key things in the campaign was to keep the water in public ownership. And we can see now, even in those years since, how important that would have been, Greg, because now with Irish Water, they may say they're doing their best, but like down in the Derry Conner area, what focused my mind there was, obviously I heard Michael McClafferty out talking about even get water tankers on as an emergency, which is very good, but like it shows you where it's went to. The other thing was, I was talking to the main runs over our roads or outside my house. I was talking to the water staff, and it was off and on for a few days, and they were doing their best. They were out in terrible weather, the oilskins on them, up to their oxters and muck, trying to get these things going. Totally understaffed and under-resourced, Greg. And you have to say that. Anybody knows about walking the road knows that when men's under pressure and whatnot. So that's what got me focused into the whole idea of where we are and what it is.
Okay, before you get onto that, just to play devil's advocate, right? The problem we have in this county is decades of underinvestment in the water infrastructure. Asbestos pipe, iron pipes, all that kind of stuff. Like, we weren't necessarily getting the attention we should have been getting when, Irish Water was state controlled. Irish Water, they can list figures of the investment in terms of improving water supplies, Donegal Town. There's a load of areas that don't have to go through them. Do you believe there's any truth to the argument someone could make that Uisce Éireann is working hard to undo those decades of poor investment in Donegal when the state had responsibility for the water? In other words, they're trying to make sense of the mess, and they might argue they're putting billions into the county in order to do that. Does that argument hold any weight with you at all?
I think it does. I think there is that is going on, at least in part. But I also have to say that we still have a government here that seems to be wedded to the politics of austerity when it comes to in regard to the public good and the likes of the water. And they seem to think this piecemeal approach of fixing a burst when it happens and fixing a wee bit of pipe where there's a problem. But in reality, and I think you mentioned this yesterday yourself, we talk about that reservoir. But the point is, when you go through the hills of Donegal, there's lochs all over the place.
Yeah.
With modern technology, modern machinery, and obviously working to the best environmental standards, and not damaging the mountains, we shouldn't be talking about that reservoirs down. We have an abundance of water, and you're absolutely right, Greg. We need to think in different ways about how we do this. And there's no reason in modern society that we should be suffering from water outages.
Yeah,
but the thing is,
go ahead.
This is important, and that's a political point, and people don't like to hear the politics of it, but it is true. The campaign for the water charges was about non-payment and the water to remain in public ownership, but also about people argued for the need for a serious upgrading of the water infrastructure. Now, the thing about it is, and even political people who were on the side of the campaign, when and I'm talking about, if you like, party politics and electoral politics, when they got so far and the campaign was seen to be won, inverted commas, they kind of sort of took their foot off the gas as well. We should have been pushing on to put proper infrastructure in place in this country. And if Fine Gael file weren't up for it, we needed to put another government in that was going to do it. But the point is, people thought, that's a campaign one, we've got enough, we've got electoral, we've got our seats out of it, and we'll carry on from there. And we're back to the same place that we were, really, in regard to infrastructure, Greg.
Just in relation to it, in relation to accountability, Owen, let's look at health, for an example. If we try and get to the bottom of a health problem here, the way that it's structured now is that, if local HSE might blame national HSE, and the national HSE might blame the funding from government, and then we get on to the health minister, and the health minister might blame the national health HSE, and then the national HSE will say the local HSE on implementing as blah blah blah. Now it feels like that with the water and other services. The councillors say, well, we can't do nothing. Irish Water won't speak to us. We get press statements from Irish Water, but very rarely do we get access to actually ask them questions. We seem to be going down a route in this country where we put extra layers of administration in, or company names, or whatever it might be, and it means that no one can actually be held account for loads of outages out. I mean, you can't sack a councillor for loads of outages out in West Donegal. You can't really blame the council, although council workers work with Irish Water because they'd say it's Irish Water. And you can't really get at Irish Water because you don't know who runs it and who's responsible. We just seem to be moving into an era whereby there's just layers and layers and layers of people that are responsible, or organisations that are responsible, but no one is accountable, or you can't really pinpoint a person who's made a bad decision. That's crazy. I think that's crazy.
Well, I think you're right. I think that's a reflection. As I say, it's back to the politics of all, and that's a reflection on how we're doing politics in this country. And the thing about the politics, as we can hear by the impassioned pleas of people over the last few days, politics is supposed to be about society and how it serves society, and this is not happening because even you're quite right, our political reps doing their best, and can't even get an answer from Irish Water. And like, people voted these people in to represent them. That's what it should be about. But yet, we've, as you say, we have layers of bureaucracy that are stopping this happening, and people can point to one or to the other where you should go. And it's not good enough. And it focuses my mind, yes, it's about the water and it's about the day-to-day stuff, but it's also about the way we do politics and the political system.
Well, the system is such. The system seems to be, Owen, that every 5 years we go to the polls and we vote. Half of people don't vote, but half of the people do. And that you seem to be suggesting that politicians now feel that gives them a mandate to make any decision that they want for the next 5 years, regardless of whether it matches the mood of the wider society.
Well, I think that's true, but I also think that some politicians do their best, to be quite honest, and some are very active on the ground. But I do think that there is a layer of bureaucracy that protects them from bad decisions as well. Okay, they can be voted out, but then, as we know, there's been a few elections since the water charges movement, and people have been voted in and voted out. But we're back to talking about this problem here today, Greg. So, in effect, not much has changed. Excuse me.
So do you think the solution here, and I just wonder how it might improve it, because, Owen, and I'm not being smart, but you're an intelligent man and you can have the conversation. You are quite critical, I think, of governments and how governments rule and the decisions they make, right? So, but you want to take the control of Irish Water from Uisce Éireann and put that back into the hands of the people that you've such a distrust of, Owen? Can you see how that, to me, sort of goes, well, it's like the turkeys voting for Christmas?
Well, that's part of the problem too, Greg. I mean, it's obviously a huge issue. Like, it would need to be thought about. There'll probably be more intelligent people than me could maybe come up with the way forward in that regard. But I think, you know, like sitting here, I suppose you have to think, well, you can't lose hope, and you think we need to try and put things into place that are going to suit the citizens of the state more than what's happening at the moment.
Yeah.
That'd be my take. Now, the other thing, where do you step on from there? That's a pertinent question, and you're right. But I just don't think we can throw up our hands in despair and say do nothing.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, I understand exactly where you're coming from. And it's ongoing. And the thing with sort of things like services, water outages, even the statistics we heard about the ED earlier on, it just keeps coming and coming and coming. And the thing, I think the problem people have, and this is maybe why only 50% of people vote, is that they don't really think things are going to improve or change. Oh, and you're trying to stay, solution focused. Well, we have to try something. But I just feel, and I think this is why there's such a low turnout, that the public, half of the public, feel that no matter what happens, it is what it is. We'll just batter along. We'll have the same health service. We'll have the same infrastructure. We'll have the same underinvestment in the Northwest. And as I say, I just genuinely think that's why people don't think it's worth going out to vote.
Yeah, well, see, the people might not be wrong there, Greg, to be honest. But the thing is, like, as you know, nothing stays static. Like, things move on, we change, things change, and what applied in previous years may not have to apply in the future. Yeah. We can change it, we can create a different future. So we have to think like that as well. But you're right, I can see why people would be I would be talking to a lot of people who's given up in politics and they would say, well, what's the point? It's all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, up to a point, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, Greg. That's my point.
A caller says, surely a functioning water service is more important than spending billions on a train service. But the problem here is firstly, there's no money allocated for the train service. But secondly, I was just looking at the receipts, the government receipts for July. The amount of money coming to this country is far in excess of what they were expecting. Billions upon billions of euro extra. It's not about the availability of money and whether we spend it on trains or on water. It's how that money is spent. It's like dumping money into the health service. It doesn't necessarily improve outcomes. It's how these services are managed and run, I think, Owen, isn't it? It's not about how much money is spent, because there's tons of money in this country. You wouldn't believe it, but it's the truth.
The money has to be well spent, Greg, you're right. I mean, but the thing is, it has to be spent, and I do think, in respect to my political point again, we still have a government that's austerity thinking that came in, and some of them always had it. It's good enough. I sure fix that wee bit of pipe will be grand. That stop them going on the radio and talking for a while. And this is the kind of politics that's operating in this country.
And if you're only doing repair as you patchwork, you're playing whack-a-mole, because you drive the pressure further up the line, and then that weak spot goes and on it. Like, we're not engineers, Owen. I don't think you're an engineer, but you can see if you're going to change, you have to change the whole pipe. There's no point patching it, because you're just chasing the. All right, listen, Owen, lovely talking to you. Thanks for your time. I do appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
No, it's great to hear your voice. Bye. Okay. A caller says, water out in Melmore Holiday Park in Downings from Sunday evening until yesterday. Was supposed to be back at 9 a.m. this morning. Monday morning, not good enough. I did see coming in an email that they switched the water off in Downings at midnight last night. It was due to come on at 6 o'clock today, 6 a.m. today. So presumably that was to facilitate the fixing of the problem that's caused the outage in the Melmore Holiday Park. I don't know. They say it takes 3 or 4 hours for water to return. It'll be interesting to see if your water comes back before we go off the show. I live in the mountaintop area in Brewer. We've been fighting for water for years here in the area. We rely on rainwater to fill our tanks. We buy our water in. My mother was 20 when she moved here, and there was no water or electricity. She's now 79, and there is still no water. That's a remarkable story. 59 years and still no water in that area.
The Chadwick Summer Sale is now on. Step into the great outdoors and give your garden and patio areas a makeover with our wide range of garden furniture, barbecues, mowers, paving and decorative stone, tools and accessories. Great deals on showers, surrounds, taps, mirrors and bathroom accessories. Plus a huge range of doors, floors, paint and power tools from all the top brands. Shop online at chadwicks.ie or visit your local branch. Chadwicks.
Let's get it done!
Welcome to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms in Donegal Town. Discover affordable luxury with our bespoke fitted furniture solutions. With almost 30 years of serving Ireland and the Northwest, we're your trusted experts. Visit us Monday to Thursday 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. with late night openings Fridays until 7. Book your free consultation today on 074 9725 822 or visit cherrymore.ie. Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, where affordability and luxury combine.
The summer sale is now on at Watson Menswear in Letterkenny, with a big range of 2- and 3-piece suits reduced to half price. Also, a selection of blazers and dress shirts, half price. There's 20% off formal footwear and loads of great bargains in casual clothing and footwear in the summer sale now on at Watson Menswear. Open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny and at watsonmenswear.com. If you're heading off on holidays, why not treat yourself to a pair of designer sunglasses? At Louis Walsh Opticians, you'll find a full range of top-name sunglasses at great prices, so you'll look your best while your eyes are properly protected. For a sight test with an OCD 3D scan, contact lenses or a driver's sight report, Louis Walsh Opticians, Letterkenny's longest established and family-run opticians, are located in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. Call 91 21000.
Right, okay, we return to the issue of St. Joseph's Hospital and services at St. Joseph's Hospital, I beg your pardon. Councillor Dakota Nick Vanman joins me on the show now to discuss this. Good morning, Dakota, thanks for your time.
Good morning, Greg, and thanks for having me on.
Right, this seems to be off the back of a HIQA inspection towards the end of last week. What do we know?
Yeah, so I got a call from a worried person about the respite services, as their family member was due to go in, and that the nurses had rang them on Monday to say that HIQA had been in on Friday and that all respite services were to be ceased.
It seems to be a kind of a blunt instrument here because there are unanswered questions here. How serious were the HIQA findings, if that's what's triggered this, and how have the HSE balanced this with the importance and need for respite? We don't have those answers.
No, so you'll have to bear with me. My voice is a little bit gone this morning.
You're okay.
But, I have been told by the committee of St. Joseph's Hospital that they had spoken to the HSE and that the HSE said it was fire regulations and that it would take for 4 weeks and then respite services would be reinstated. Now, I don't know if that is completely true, and if it is true, that's good that it's only going to take 4 weeks, but at the same time, it's the same old excuse that we've kind of heard, before with the physio, that it's fire regulations, it'll be back, but then the physio actually isn't coming back, but it is coming back to the town, but there still hasn't been a location named. And, they said that they would make arrangements for patients to go to Letterkenny. The families I've spoke to, they said that isn't the case with them, that they have just been offered no help. They haven't been offered Letterkenny. They've just been told, go to the public health nurse, they'll help you out, for coming out, whereas that's not really the public health nurse's job. And to get families to travel, even to Letterkenny, just isn't acceptable either, because a lot of them, they mightn't have the transport or the means to travel to Letterkenny, and it's quite distressing for the patient too, to move them about.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would share your concern, because in 3 weeks' time, are we going to get a plan that from now on respite's going to be added? We hope to provide it in the facility or in the area, but no longer in that facility. Do you know what I mean? That's I think, given we had to drag the information out of the HSE, so it relates to the physiotherapy and what have you. Are we going to be in the same situation here? Is this another death by 1,000 cuts of this facility? And the reason, and I'm not trying to scaremonger, is the problem that we as the media face and you as elected reps face, and more importantly than both of us, the public faces, is the lack of information from the HSE. We get this news, then we have to dig a bit further to find out what the reason was behind it. Then we have to keep digging to find out when it's going to be returned, and so it goes. There's this serious lack of communication, it seems.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a drip feed of information, and it's really not acceptable. And we could be accused of scaremongering, going out and saying like I put out the statement saying that the respite services were being ceased, and it's the truth that they were being ceased, and that and then I might get criticised for that because I didn't have the full story. But it's my duty as a public representative to tell people this so that they're aware of what is going on with the local community hospital.
And of course, at this time of year, we were talking about respite in the show yesterday. At this time of year, these kind of services might be more needed than at other times of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody that I was contacted by said that they were going on holidays and that their family member was due to go in to St. Joseph's, and then all of a sudden it's cancelled, and now they're kind of left in limbo because they have to try get other care for that family member when they're not going to be there. Like, it's really concerning for the families, and it's causing them a lot of stress because now they're worrying kind of while they're supposed to be relaxing on their holidays.
Yeah, I'm right. Listen, thanks for your time, Dakota. I do appreciate it. Take care. That is Councillor Dakota Nick Van Man there talking about those issues. John Gallagher is chair of Save Our St. Joseph's. John, here we go again. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Nick. Well, the first thing I would have to say is that I'd have huge sympathy for anyone who was due for respite in St. Joseph's this week and ended up not getting it. I'm sure that there are a few households in the Thin Valley who are very disappointed. Having said that, suppose we have come a long way, both in St. Joseph's, Lifford and Ramelton, from 2016, when it was the policy at that time to close all three hospitals when a new one would open in Letterkenny. I think that now, with maybe the overcrowding in Letterkenny Hospital, the fact that people are living longer and the increase in population, that the HSE are no longer hell-bent on closing either St. Joseph's, Lifford or Ramelton. In fact, they're going to build a new facility, as I understand, in Lifford. We had a meeting with them way back in March, and I'd be very confident that we are now maybe to some extent singing of the same hymn sheet, and that they gave a commitment that day to keep St. Joseph open and bring it up to the Health Information and Quality Authority standards. Which brings us to HIQA. They are charged, suppose, with setting up and monitoring the standards in all the medical facilities and services in the country. They visit facilities regularly. Sometimes they announce that they're coming, sometimes they don't. During past visits, we have expressed concerns about the level of... They have expressed basically concern about the levels of fire retardancy in the building. And in fairness, suppose the HSE are investing a lot of money in trying to bring the whole building up to a fire retardancy standard that the HIQA is actually happy with. Now, last Friday, my understanding is that they made an unannounced visit to St. Joseph's, and that they expressed dissatisfaction with the standard of fire retardancy in the Drogheda ward where the respite patients are resident. They recommended that no more clients should be admitted to that ward until it was brought up to standard. Now, I do understand that they were... that people who were on respite there remain there until the respite period is over. Now, I understand that this week as well that there is some arrangement being made with the facility in Letterkenny to provide respite for those people who are disappointed
but John,
in St. Joseph.
Correct me if I'm wrong, was there not significant work carried out on the Drogheda ward that allowed it to be used for respite patients?
Well, apparently it's still not up to the standard that HIQA required.
But if people are moved out of the Drogheda ward, there's presumably significant money carried out and work done on that. People are moved into that, and then HIQA come up and say, hold on a second, this isn't as safe as it should be. There's questions at least to be answered in regards to the quality or standard or work actually carried out in the Drogheda ward then, surely.
Well, that might very well be, but at the moment, in our health service, HICWA seems to rule the roost, and the HSE have very, very, very little say in what actually is going on. So the HICWA make set the standards, and they inspect are the standards being adhered to. So I understand that's now the big criticisms that I would have of the HSE is how they handled this information. It would have been quite easy to release a statement to the media explaining what happened and apologise for those who were disappointed. Unfortunately, the story reached the media in a form that merely indicated that the service was permanently being withdrawn from St. Joseph's.
Well, John, you see, the problem is you see, the way it works is that families who are due to avail of respite care are told at the last minute, sorry, that care is not available. Often they're not told that we're seeking alternative care for you in Letterkenny or what have you. They panic. They've got arrangements made. They contact the likes of also public representatives, and then we have to chase the HSE down. Surely the HSE should have known. Again, we've been through this a million times. Release a press release saying that this is in the interest of safety of the patients. We don't have to move current respite patients out. We're going to work on this really quick, and we're doing all we can to provide alternative care in Letterkenny. That is not brain surgery.
A 2-minute press release would have solved the problem and would have eased the minds of an awful lot of people. And that is the criticism that I have, is how the information was. I have no terrible problem if there's something not up to standard, closing the thing down for a short period of time and bringing it up to standard. I have huge problem with the way it was actually handled and how the information got out.
So as a chair of the Save Our St. Joseph's, you're satisfied that this decision was made for the right reasons and that it will be short term and that those respite facilities will be returned to St. Joseph's hospitals in a matter of weeks?
I'm not an expert in building, but I would actually believe that from talking to the HSE that they are interested in maintaining St. Joseph's and building it up and bringing it up to HICWA standards. Yeah.
Right. Okay, John. Listen, appreciate that. That's it's important to get your voice early on as well, because, as I say, you've had contact with the relevant agencies. All right, John. Take care of yourself.
No bother.
Bye. Okay. Bye. 086 60 25,000. If you've a view on that, or if you were affected by it, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. The work was meant to be completed on the Drogheda ward, and patients from Finview moved into it, which has happened. So what I don't understand, says a listener, is why patients were allowed to be moved in it if it wasn't suitable. Obviously, HICWA had carried out another inspection and it wasn't suitable. Cannot go live as working. Oh, okay. Sorry. Appreciate that. Someone texting in who says they can't come on because they're working. That's perfectly fine. We do appreciate all of those inputs. Plenty of land around St. Joseph's, even on the site itself. Why relocate services, physio and daycare services, etc., away from it when the older people staying there will have the highest need and demand for services? Another, they will have to travel and be escorted away into the Ballybofey traffic jam. Sorry, the bypass is on its way and pigs will fly. The HSE communications team should be sacked and its strategy rewritten with the words transparent, accountable and timely. Another, it's also Dakota's responsibility as a member of a committee to advise her fellow committee members, including the chairperson, before releasing any info in relation to the committee. Right, I'm not sure of the makeup or presence on the committee or what have you. But if we were contacted by a person who was promised respite care and that respite care wasn't delivered, and we were trying to get a contact from the HSE, I'm afraid, unfortunately, the way things work is we would have ran with it as well. Someone did message me yesterday and I was trying to get some comment from the HSE, but this is all very easily done. You know, the HSE is a massive communications department and they could have got a press release out over the weekend or early Monday, and it could have gone along the lines of what John has said there and put people's minds at ease. I wonder, has anyone who had the respite care been offered alternative care in Letterkenny? Let us know. It is important. But look, that's the story as it is.
If you've been bereaved by suicide or know someone who has, HUG is the National Suicide Bereavement Charity. Join us on Saturday 17th of August for a free information event in the Great Northern Hotel Bundoran. Expect compassionate conversations on understanding suicide grief and local supports available to adults. Doors open at 12:30 with a speaker at 1. Visit hugg.ie for more details. HUG, Hope and Healing After Suicide. Funded by HSE Connecting for Life.
Century Play Letterkenny has reopened and we are now taking kids' party bookings. Book your kids' party now to ensure it's a party of the century. Call us on 074 91 21976 for more information.
Virgin Media is rolling out 2 gig full fibre broadband to more and more homes across Ireland. Big homes, little homes, haunted houses, big gaffs in the country, non-bouncy castles. Number 16, Oxbow Lake Houses. The house with all the cats. To get super fast, reliable broadband, check your address at virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media, it's playtime.
T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie. Subject to availability.
Irish sun doesn't really count, right?
Look, we all deserve a bit of sun. Skin cancer is the most common cancer in Ireland, so whether you're at home or abroad, protect your skin by following these sun smart steps. Slip into long loose clothes, slop on the sunscreen, slap on a sun hat, seek shade. Yeah, even on the cloudy days. Oh, and slide on the sunglasses.
I do have very funky sunglasses. And I do love this hat.
Be Sunsmart from the HSE and Healthy Ireland.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhinney's. Make your sterling go further with our new cash sales exchange rate at €1.20 for every £1 spent in store. No matter the weather, visit us in Ballybuffet for all your fashion, beauty, gifting and homeware needs this summer.
So it's going to be cloudy this morning with showers feeding in from the west. The showers will ease in the afternoon with sunny spells developing. Temperatures about 16 to 18 degrees, so it will feel pleasant a little later on. Friday, Saturday, not too bad. It's looking not too bad, but unfortunately more rain due to arrive on Sunday, which is regrettable. Hi, Greg. Allow me to remind you why Kelly went through a dark time. It was for expressing support to the people of the North Wall against mass housing of illegal immigrants and her opposition to transgenders participating in women's sport. There were calls for her funding and sponsorship to be cut by liberal media and various groups. Sadly, elements of the same media will be praising her today after nearly ruining her career. Congratulations to Kelly on her brilliant win and for being her own person. I was curious as to whether or not, and I did say to someone a little earlier on when she was referencing the difficult week or a year or two, if it was related to those comments at that time. I'm not really quite sure. And you are quite right. I have noticed already today those who were most critical of her singing her praises today. But the public keep receipts. The public remember. That's why I have great faith in the public. They know what's what, and they know who said what, when they said it, and what it should or shouldn't mean. Everyone should use their vote on election day, believes the caller. I mean, I think it's absolutely critical to get the representation that the country wants. But, you know, you try and drum up interest and enthusiasm, but then you see the turnout on the day and it's often quite low. My mother, who is 65, was sent to Letterkenny ED 2 weeks ago. Waited 8 hours to be given painkillers and was sent home because bloods were clear. She has deteriorated ever since and was sent back up by a doctor yesterday afternoon at 3 p.m. and she's still sitting in the ED. Right, okay, this is... so she went in, she was sent home, bloods were clear, went back into hospital yesterday at 3 p.m. and as of, 9 o'clock was still in the ED. She was told at 5 a.m. this morning that because she's been ill for more than 2 weeks, she's not an emergency. How that makes sense, I'll never know. Absolutely disgusting. Okay, that's remarkable situation for that lady and the family as well. Everyone gets affected. A caller says, you can't see around you or see oncoming traffic or cyclists or walkers coming towards you anymore while driving on country roads with all the high growth of bushes and trees allowed to grow right up to and onto the verges of both sides of the road. That is one major factor of the cause of more deaths on road, but it's not PC to talk about it. Why is it not PC to talk about it? I agree with you. I've noticed driving on some back roads, you go round a corner and thankfully with the awareness you don't go too fast, and next thing 2 walkers appear who probably are 2 abreast, it has to be said. And the road is so narrow that if you were if you were speeding and to go around them, you could very easily meet an oncoming car, and God knows what the consequences might be. I don't know what the story is in terms of looking after hedgerows and the grass in the summer. We don't do it. But anyway. Straight away, says a listener, the government is going to have to divert all the proposed rail money to deal with the Mica atrocity. If the EU regulations kick into touch, it will be into the next century before a working train will be running in Donegal. Well, there's no money really. A senior government person said that it's a plan, but it's not been funded. Diverted to the defective concrete blocks, I think a lot of people probably would welcome that as seeing it as a more pressing issue. I don't know. Right, really busy on the phones again this morning. Thank you so much for that. 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text. Or give us a call on 07491 25,000. We really appreciate your inputs. Another busy couple of hours just around the corner. But first, let's take a break now for the news and the obituary notices.
Is it Friday yet?
Because that's when we flash the cash.
To get you in the mood
for the big bucks. Big bucks. It's all coming soon, only on Highland Radio.
Would you like to work in Ballyshannon Community Hospital? The HSE in Donegal have a number of exciting job opportunities that they are now looking to fill in Ballyshannon Community Hospital. In particular, multitask assistants and healthcare assistants. These positions are permanent and full-time. Why not make your next career move with us? For further information on any position, please contact the HR department by emailing recruitdonegal@hse.ie or by calling 074 9191 715. You can also check out our socials by visiting Community Healthcare CDLMS on Facebook.
Are you planning a night out or an overdue catch-up with friends? Visit Sister Sarah's in Letterkenny for a top-class gastropub experience. Enjoy Grill Night Thursdays, Sarah's all-you-can-eat barbecue on Fridays, live sport, weekend music and private function rooms for your special occasions. Sister Sarah's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love from Wednesday through to Sunday.
Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Florid Letterkenny has to offer? Florid have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Florid today on 087 161 7008. Are you worried about trees on your property? Northwest Forestry Services Ballybofey are fully insured and have over 40 years experience in dangerous tree removal, tree felling, surgery and stump grinding. For peace of mind, call Northwest Forest Services Ballybofey for a no obligation quotation on 913233.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Almost 5,000 people died in Irish emergency departments over the past 5 years. A new report from the Irish Medical Times shows over 1,000 of those deaths happened last year alone, 200 more than in 2019. Letterkenny University Hospital had 40 ED fatalities last year compared to 21 in 2019. Sligo had 38 in 2023 compared to 18 5 years ago. The author of the report is Michael McHale.
The numbers of people who have been dying in EDs across the country has been rising. In fact, in 17 of the country's 26 EDs, they've seen rising rates in 2023 compared to 2019.
A 15-year-old boy is due in court later in connection with recent rioting in South Belfast. Disorders since an anti-immigration protest on Saturday has included businesses being targeted and police attacked with petrol bombs. Meanwhile, the PSNI is investigating a spate of hate crime incidents last night in other parts of the city. 3 arrests were made after a car was rammed into an estate agent's on Woodvale Road, while in West Belfast a boy was assaulted and young people attacked a Middle Eastern supermarket. West Belfast MLA Jerry Carroll says local people came out to stand against it.
I think what we saw quite quickly was a community response of community workers, youth workers, anti-racist campaigners, political reps, including myself, stood with the shop to say that we won't tolerate any kind of attacks on anybody in our community, whether that be their homes or their shops. So a very, very strong community response.
The Justice Minister says it's not good enough that social media posts which contained threats to the Taoiseach and his family were left up for 2 days. Gardaí are investigating the content which was posted on Instagram and left on the platform for a considerable length of time. Taoiseach Simon Harris said he wouldn't be deterred following the threats. Justice Minister Helen McEntee says such content shouldn't be visible a number of days after it was first posted.
If a post has been left up for 2 days, it's not good enough. Now, I know social media companies will say that they have certain measures that they have to take, that they have to look at the content, that they have to go through various different stages. If something is very clearly illegal content, if something is very clearly a threat, it should be taken down immediately without question.
Child benefit has now been paid in respect of almost 60,000 18-year-olds for the first time, 1,877 of them in Donegal. As of May this year, child benefit is now paid to anyone who is 18 and in full-time education or who has a disability up until their 19th birthday. It's been confirmed that another facilitator is to be employed by Inishowen Development Partnership and DLDC to support the rollout of the defective concrete block scheme. The revised scheme has now been operating for over a year. Agriculture Minister Charlie McConalogue says it's a welcome addition given that many more homeowners are now beginning the construction phase.
I've been liaising with Donegal County Council and with the Department of Housing over the last few months in terms of actually having the number of facilitators increased, and I'm glad to say now that the Department of Housing have given approval for a second facilitator to be hired by IDP and a second facilitator to be hired by DLDC. It'll be really important that this service continues to roll out as the defective concrete block scheme picks up pace and as more and more homeowners are applying, and indeed as more and more homeowners are getting into construction as well.
And community childcare and Meals on Wheels services are to benefit from a funding boost, an extra €10 million being invested to be shared among 400 community providers across the country, with each getting up to €25,000. Health Minister Stephen Donnelly says the community organisations, a number of them in Donegal, provide invaluable services.
We're announcing a €10 million fund for day centres and for Meals on Wheels community services around the country. As people will be aware, there are hundreds of community-based centres all over Ireland. There are daycare services where people go in. Sometimes they go in for companionship, sometimes they go in for help with various things in their lives. They're amazing services.
Cloudy this morning with showers coming in from the west. Those showers will ease this afternoon with sunny spells developing in highs of 16 to 18 degrees Celsius. Mainly dry to start this evening and tonight with clear spells, but it will turn cloudier overnight with patches of light rain and drizzle developing. Some northern parts will remain dry until morning. Lowest overnight temperatures 10 to 13 degrees Celsius. Light southerly winds. Cloudy tomorrow with patchy rain and drizzle at first. More persistent rain developing tomorrow morning and afternoon before the rain eases again toward evening. Top temperatures tomorrow 17 to 20. Again, light southerly winds, increasing moderate southwest in the afternoon. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Check our website, highlandradio.com, for more. But from the news team, good morning. The obituary notices for this Wednesday morning, the 7th of August. The death has taken place of Marion McLaughlin, 4 Elm Court, Rimelton, reposing at her home today and tomorrow from 12 noon until 10 p.m. Requiem Mass on Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock in St Mary's Church, Rimelton, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. The Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Rosary nightly at 9. Family flowers only, please. Donations if desired to ISPCA, ISPCC and Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Brendan O'Donnell, 13 Green Hills, Manor Cunningham. Brendan's remains will repose at his late residence this evening from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. and again tomorrow from 12 noon until 10 p.m. with Rosary nightly at 9. Funeral from there on Friday morning at 10:15, going to All Saints Church, Newton Cunningham, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, which can be viewed live on churchservices.tv, followed by private cremation at Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan. Family time, please, on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Norma Glenn, Money Gregan, Newton Cunningham. Her remains are reposing at her son Ivan and daughter-in-law Patricia's home. Funeral from there at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon for 2 o'clock service of thanksgiving for her life in Newton Cunningham Presbyterian Church, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Newton Cunningham Community First Responders, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Peter Nolan, Seaspray, Cullineen, Redcastle. Peter's remains will repose at his home from 4 o'clock this afternoon. Funeral from there on Friday morning at 10:30 for 11 o'clock funeral mass in St Columba's Church, Drung, followed by interment in Drung Graveyard. The funeral mass can be viewed live on stcolumbusdrung.net. Family time, please, from 9 p.m. to 2 p.m. and on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Friends of Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member or Eamon McLaughlin, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Kevin Gallagher, Cavan Hill, Lifford, reposing at his home today from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Funeral from his home tomorrow morning at 10:20 for Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Murlock, Lifford at 11, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, before the funeral tomorrow. The Requiem Mass can be viewed at clonleyparish.com. The death has taken place of Delia McMonigal, née Carr, Buncrana, and formerly of Urris, Clonmany. Delia's remains will repose at the family home in Leenan, Urris, Clonmany, today from 12 noon until 9 p.m. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 9:30, going to St Michael's Church, Urris, for Requiem Mass at 10 o'clock, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or McFeely Funeral Directors. Delia's funeral mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of Jackie Hunter, Findrum, Convoy. Jackie is reposing at St Mary's Church, Convoy, with funeral mass there this morning at 11, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Patsy Greer, 2 Drimnamona, Umla, Carrigart. Funeral from there tomorrow, going to the Church of St John the Baptist for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. and on the morning of the funeral. The death has taken place of Margaret Doherty, Maggie Hen, Disturnan, Glenealy. Maggie's remains will repose at Eamon McLaughlin's funeral home this evening from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:15 for 11 o'clock funeral mass in St Mary's Church, Buchan, followed by interment in Buchan Graveyard. The funeral mass can be viewed live on cooldaftparish.com. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. And the death has taken place of Jack Lavin, Dreenan, Ballabafay, late of Swinford, County Mayo. Requiem Mass this morning at 11 in St Patrick's Church, Crossroads, Killygordon, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The Mass can be viewed on St Patrick's Church Facebook page. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the St Vincent de Paul Society. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Gach blian, fain hart rávíle séké duine in airan ailse podóige. Chuidín scag hostel podóige le do risca ailse podóige all a laidu. Inis, má tá tú idir chuigení agus 60 déit for chlorú le haig trealamh tastála bellscreen balla, séir an aisce. Agus an tastáil dénta agat, seolar as le séir fust agus béimid de jangwa leat. Chlórí iniu ag bellscreen.ie nó séirglé a héana hook de nád dada cuig chuig a cuig. Ó HSE.
Good morning again. Welcome back to the 9 till noon show. How you're keeping? I hope you're well. Just some of your comments as we head towards the bingo numbers. Hi, Greg. Was out walking. 2 grown men with 2 dogs had jumped up on me. I was out walking. 2 grown men with 2 dogs. One jumped up on me. My husband asked, why are your dogs not on a lead? The 2 men became aggressive. It's terrible on the shorefront in Buncrana. That comes in from Kate. Not a pleasant experience, Kate. A caller says, just responding to another caller that commented about their dog yesterday, the owners of that dog clearly have no clue how to control their pet. They should license the dog owners, not the dogs, because some people are clueless. Hi, Greg. It's a time all dogs, when out in public, need to be on a leash. Rules are too vague. Enforcement is not happening in Mayville of the current rules. Mayville Shore Walk is a free-for-all with dogs enjoying your show. And as I say, you know, it's just a glancing mention of dogs, and the texts come flying in. It's not an agenda I have, by the way. It's just a topic that seems to get people on the phones. This listener says, dogs need to be kept on a leash when outside the home with their owners. I'm absolutely terrified of dogs. I wish I wasn't, but it's something I can't help. I was walking on Binion Beach one evening when two small dogs came running for me. I got such a fright, I started running and went running straight past the dog owners. I actually hid behind the gentleman until the lady caught the dogs and got them on the leads. The lady started to give out to me and shouting at me to stop running because the dogs thought they were playing. I was so mad. I told her I was terrified and they should be on leashes. I have a heart condition and got that much of a fright. I needed to sit on the bridge and stop shaking before I headed home. I cried my eyes out on the way home. What should have been an enjoyable walk was ruined. I wish I wasn't afraid of dogs, but I am. I just wish dog owners would have some consideration for people like me. And consideration is the key word there, isn't it? Greg, you reckon we always had a housing crisis in this country before these unvetted foreigners came to this country? If it was crisis before this, what would you call it now? I'd love to know. It's a crisis. I'm not, by the way, here with any agenda or a particular narrative to push or anything like that whatsoever. I simply said when someone talks about the housing crisis that we've had a housing crisis for a very long time. Does that mean I'm pro this or anti that? No, it's just a statement of fact. Let me see. The greenways are costing a fortune due to consistent failed policy. The majority of greenways in Donegal which have been built are literally hard shoulders bordering roads. This is because of development being allowed on the former railway lines. Ballybofey is a housing estate on the former railway line, for crying out loud. Inishowen Tram, Richard, you'd need to take a look at Fawn, the rail line completely built on. Another greenway, Derry Buncrana, which won't be proper one, but shall cost a fortune. That's in comment to Richard Logue, who we spoke to on the show previously. And quite a few of you text in about emails, text in about railways. I'm highly amused by all this talk about railways and 2050. By 2050, the world will be so drastically changed from climate chaos that trains will be the last thing on anyone's minds. Talk about delusions of survival. Hi, Greg. I have a query. Is the recruitment freeze lifted in all areas of the HSC? Now, maybe someone out there can help answer this one. I'm hearing different stories that it's only lifted on nurses and doctors, etc. I got on the panel for clerical a few months later, a few months after the recruitment freeze hit. So I'm wondering if that panel is even valid anymore. Will they be recruiting soon again in the future using these panels? So I'm not sure if the panel was formed just before or just after the recruitment freeze, but maybe someone out there or in the HSC knows. Are those panels still in place? Will they be recruiting off them anytime soon? This is a person that works in clerical. They got on the panel for clerical there. Another texter says, in an off license, vodka is around €22. There are around 20 measures in a 70cl vodka. It is €4 to €5 for a measure in a hotel or an off license. Now, there's a ton of costs associated with pubs and hotels. Perhaps not as much as to justify €4 or €5. Imagine €4 or €5 for a shot of vodka. Whoa. I'm glad I don't. Right, here are the bingo numbers. Good luck if you're playing today. Our next guest here on the 9 till Noon Show is just around the corner.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday the 7th of August. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S18. It's game number 32. The numbers are 12, 81, 69, 84, 50, 65, 17, 29, 44, and finally 86. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Northwest Cleaning Services has over 15 years of expertise specialising in carpet and upholstery cleaning in Donegal, offering premium services to keep your carpets looking great and smelling fresh. Call now on 074 932 9827 for a free estimate, or visit our website at northwestcleaningservices.ie to book your cleaning appointment.
Irwin Expert Electrical, your trusted destination for all things home appliances, electrical and entertainment in the Northwest. With over 50 years of leading the way, we pride ourselves on offering a diverse range of products under one roof. From top brands like LG, Samsung, Cooker, Bosch, Apple and more, take advantage of our free layaway service where you can store your new items until you're ready for them. Perfect for renovations and new build projects. Visit Irwin Expert Electrical today in Letterkenny or Buncrana.
Okay, a caller says the man who stabbed 3 children in Stockport is up for charges. The man who did the stabbings in Dublin is not yet charged. How can England charge a man after 3 days and the stabbings in Dublin happened in November and nobody has been charged yet? There are people involved in the riots who've been charged before the stabber. That's just fundamentally not true. And I suppose this is because that could be posted on Facebook and then someone could go, yeah, that's a bloody disgrace, screenshot it and then share it on X and so on and so forth. Riyadh Bouchaka of No Fixed Abode appeared in Dublin District Court back in, what was the date? It was back in December, just before Christmas. He's 50 years of age and he's been charged with the attempted murder of 3 children in that stabbing attack outside the primary school in Dublin, which occurred in November. Riyadh Bouchaka of No Fixed Abode appeared in court and has been charged. He's 50 years of age. So as I say, I take your point, but it's very important, I suppose, when we share and spread information, and people are perfectly entitled to do that, that as best as we can, we do so with accurate information. All right, so this doesn't happen too often. Let's not forget, by the way, that the Olympics are a global sport involving every country that wants to take part or send representations. And to be the best once in your chosen sort of discipline or sport is remarkable. To do it twice, to retain that title at the Olympics, is very, very rare. You're joining a very small group of individuals on a global scale. But that's what Kelly Harrington did. She successfully defended her Olympic lightweight 60 kg title, beating China's Yang Wenlu at the Stade Roland Garros in Paris. Harrington won all of her fights on the way to the final against Yang, defeating her Tokyo 2020 final opponent, Brazil's Beatriz Ferreira, in the semis, and she won a title bout on a split decision. Peter O'Donnell is president of the Donegal Boxing Board, and he joins us now. Peter, like the whole of the country, you were watching on last night. To see someone really at the top of their game, it's unbelievable, isn't it, Peter?
Unbelievable from Kelly Harrington last night, a legend, and she made history by becoming the first Irish female athlete to win gold at back-to-back Olympic Games with 3 masterclass performances, her quarter-final, her semi, and last night in her final, you know. Unfortunately, I was out at last week and we only seen our quarter-final bout. We couldn't get any tickets for this week, so we had to come back home again on Saturday night last, you know.
But they moved the fights to the big stadium, and an awful lot of Irish were in there, and I think that played a really important part. And I think Kelly referenced this herself in getting her over the line.
Yes, I think you're quite right there, Greg. I think she got a lot of her energy from the crowd. Great support she had. There were hundreds and hundreds of Irish people there last night. It was fantastic to see them all and the support that she got, because she's a household name in boxing. You know, a great boxer and a great girl. So it's fantastic for Irish sport.
Did you ever work with her, or what do you know of her? What can you tell us about her as an individual, I suppose?
Well, I would be the MC at the National Stadium for the championships, Greg, for many, many years now, and I got the privilege of introducing her many times. You know, she's very, very humble, and she never forgot the roots growing up in Dublin's north inner city. She's a world-class boxer, and she lived just a normal life as an amateur boxer. She had ups and downs on the way up, and she loved her job as well in Dublin Psychiatric Hospital, you know. So she was a great person, and she came along always to the schoolboy and schoolgirl championships on the 11 and 12-year-olds when they were boxing in the finals, and she was flag bearer there on many occasions, you know, always turned up to support the rest of the boxers in the National Stadium. Great girl, great person, you know.
When in amateur boxing, Peter, what are the judges looking for, and what did Kelly excel at last night?
Well, I think she just outclassed her opponent for accuracy, pinpoint accuracy, a great display, all round display. Like, you know, you couldn't deny her last night. What the judge that gave it against her was looking for, or what he was looking at, I don't know, but it was definitely, it was a master class performance. Her three boys were, and you couldn't take anything away from her, you know.
And the amount of time, effort, and commitment, especially, you know, at amateur level, where you've got your other family life stuff, a bit of controversy in the media, your job. It's really quite remarkable, isn't it, to be able to achieve what she has achieved, not once but twice.
Well, they do it once as a great achievement, but they do it twice. It's unbelievable, you know, very, very unbelievable, you know. And when she won the gold in Tokyo, I think the Irish public recognised her not merely as a sporting hero, but a deeply aspirational human being as well, you know. She was very, very well got in all circles, you know, in Dublin, like, you know, and all around. Like, she's a great girl and a great girl to work with her coaches and one thing and another. Great person, and couldn't take nothing away from her at all, you know.
And, I mean, she'll inspire the next generation. We've seen it with Katie Taylor and those that went before her, but particularly with Katie Taylor. Kelly's already done this herself now, but the Tokyo Olympics were a little bit strange. There's absolutely no doubt that boxing clubs up and down the country are going to see, you know, younger boys and girls entering, wanting to become the next Kelly Harrington.
That's for sure. That's for sure. There will be an influx in all clubs now. It seems it was all down through from Barry McGuigan's generation when he won a world title and one thing and another. The clubs was packed out for years and years, and there's so many clubs. We have 15 clubs here in Donegal, and you'll see an influx of boxers, boys and girls, and the clubs as well here in Donegal, you know, hopefully.
I mean, as I said sort of a little earlier on in the programme, I'm sure you didn't hear, Peter, you know, I mean, obviously women's boxing on a professional level is massive at the moment, but there's a lot of titles and, you know, the top quality boxers in terms of the amount is still relatively thin. I'm not sure what Kelly wants to achieve. I'm not sure if she's on the record, but there's absolutely no doubt that if she wanted to dedicate 2 years to the pro ranks, that she would become a very wealthy world champion. I would have no doubt about that.
I would say she could become a millionaire with a signing on fee even. She's that good, Greg, you know. And like, she's 35 years of age now, so she would have maybe a couple of years left, you know, and it's a very, very hard sport, especially in the pros. It's hard in the amateurs, what you have to give up, you know, to chase your career, but on the pros it's even harder, you know. But hopefully, whatever way she goes, that she's successful. She'll always be successful, I think, myself. And, you know, she's a household name with a bubbly personality, and she could walk into a job with RTE or anything now, you know, it's pundit. So I'd just like to wish her all the best on behalf of the Donegal boxing fraternity, you know.
Yeah, we'll join with you in that, Peter. Listen, thank you so very much indeed. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg, for having me on. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks. Peter O'Donnell, President of the Donegal Boxing Board. Have you any young ones in the house that have sort of says, I want to go and try this now off the back of it? It's, you know, it's actually quite a safe sport, believe it or not, but fantastic for young people for discipline and other things as well, because a gym is an area where there's you have to have a ton of respect and no bad behaviours really entertained, if you know what I mean. But there's no doubt loads of people, I'm sure loads of young ones, and maybe not so young, will be flooding to the boxing gyms now to get involved to try and emulate Kelly Harrington. We're also keeping a close eye on the athletics as well, because our own Mark English is running just after 11 o'clock in the 800 metres. He's got a tough task against him. But we saw in the 1500s last night, surprises abound. There's not so many surprises on the track as you would see in other Olympics. So we'll see. We'll see how Mark English gets on, and we'll reflect on that too with guests. But anything you want to say about Kelly Harrington? 08660 25,000. As I say, just in relation to whether or not she would go pro, I know she's incredibly passionate about her work. But hey, a wee career break, 2 years, Kelly. Go make a few bob. Go and win yourself a world title, and then you can go back to work and enjoy that, and your partner and your family and what have you. Right, let's take a break.
Don't even think about buying a bed until you've checked out Restex Beds. Famous for their quality, comfort and excellent service, a Restex bed will ensure a perfect sleep. Restex Beds, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Leave the rest to us.
With the scenic Lough Foyle Ferry, your coastal adventure can be even more exciting. Enjoy breathtaking sights on the Lough Foyle Ferry, carrying all categories of vehicles, connecting the Causeway coastal route to the Wild Atlantic Way. Operating daily from 9 a.m. to 8:15 p.m. with up to 40 sailings per day. Book your ticket now on loughfoyleferry.com.
You join us for the world final Chip Sizzle Freestyle contest, and the team from Charlie's Chips are in the lead. What a team, look at them go. They're coming up to the finishing pan, and once again, Charlie's Chips are the winners. Served with mouth-watering burgers, fresh battered fish, or delicious chicken. And there's a great selection of gluten-free options now also on the menu. All available to take away or sit in Tuesday to Saturday from 12 to 8. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's on Pierce Road, Letterkenny.
Donegal County Council would like to remind residents that each and every one of us is responsible for our own waste. Dumping waste such as mattresses, construction and demolition waste and bags of rubbish can contaminate land, pollute watercourses and encourage vermin. It can cause the spread of invasive species and can have health implications. It is also a visual blight on our beautiful countryside. Unauthorised waste activities such as dumping and or burning waste is illegal. Enforcement actions can lead to fines, court and in some cases a criminal conviction. Each and every one of us has a part to play. Let's work together to keep Donegal beautiful.
Now, there's an interesting and significant fundraiser taking place. It's on Saturday. It's a fundraising event in Letterkenny Shopping Centre, and it's kind of interesting. Love the poster, by the way, because there are circa 40 firefighters from Ireland, 40 from New York, and they are taking part in the Firefighter Charity Cycle with, as I mentioned, their New York counterparts. We've got three guests in with us. Conor McGuigan, good morning to you.
Hello, how are you doing?
Thank you so much for joining us. Eddie Doherty is with us as well. Hi, Eddie.
How you doing?
Good stuff. Good to have you with us. And also Connell Kane.
How are you?
Good. Connell, you've all got documentation.
We all have
Eddie's coming empty-handed. It's all up here.
Yeah.
Or
can't leave it behind then.
That's a good way of putting it. Connell, tell us what you're doing.
So we have taken on this charity cycle on behalf of Avion's Pink Tie. So Avion's Pink Tie is a children's cancer charity that we have joined partnership with since, I think, 2018 from the NRFA, which the NRFA is the National Retained Firefighter Association of Ireland. So we have raised money for them since 2018 up until now. So we always be putting our heads together wondering, what are we going to do this year? How are we going to raise funds? So we were actually contacted this year by FDNY and the Friends of Firefighters New York. So that's a charity as well. So we were contacted by them early in the year to see about doing some sort of cycle. So to join with New York and the 9/11 memorial. So we says, yeah, we'll go for it. We got gathered 40 of the finest cyclists and the fire service could produce.
You mean the 40 that didn't say no?
Yeah, the 40 that didn't say no. And 40 coming from America. There's also a couple of other people coming. I think the New York City Police Department Chief of Police is coming. The CEO of Aer Lingus is doing the cycle as well. So that cycle is going to be 360 kilometres. We hope to raise as much funds as we can for Avion's Pink Tie. As I say, we have raised funds in the past for them, and they have opened a house not far from Crumlin, the Lighthouse. So that's a fantastic facility that they have there for families that can go and rest and stay there while the kids are in Crumlin being looked after. Avins Pinktai have spent €150,000 per year on accommodation for families. So the kids get fantastic care. They get brilliant care in Crumlin, but it's the families that needs to be looked after. So you're coming from the top of Inishowen and you're landing in Crumlin and you have nothing with you. You're after getting the worst news ever that your kid's sick, and you're there. Your world is falling apart. So Avins Pinktai steps in then. They take you under their wing. They get you a change of clothes, a toothbrush, somewhere to put your head down for the night if you can at all do it. So they are a fantastic charity.
And Conor, even Pinktai is one of those charities that there might not be, and it's great actually, conversations like this and events like this are about raising awareness, right? As well as raising money.
Yes.
But there's people listening who Avins Pinktai will mean everything to them because they've had to engage with it at the worst possible time. So this is one of these organisations we probably don't know they exist, or many don't. But my word, when you're in that situation, you're so glad they do. Conor, there's a scale to this. Like, it's massive.
Yeah. As I say, it is a massive scale. You have the likes of the connections from the New York side of things and the American side of things, and then you have the Irish connection as well. So whereas, like, we're fortunate enough to in Donegal to get a team entered in this event, because we are so far away from where it's happening. Like, the cycle starts off in the US Embassy in Dublin, and then cycles into the Memorial Garden in Kinsale. So to be a part of that is it's great, and especially then for whenever the charities are involved.
So talk to me about how the structure of this cycle is then, and the connection, because that's quite an interesting piece of information.
Yeah, well, the connection is like you have the New York firefighters, and then it's a 3-day cycle.
Yeah.
So it starts off, as you say, on Monday.
So I've got this Saturday, we have a fundraising event in Letterkenny Shopping Centre. That's actually separate to this cycle.
That's
okay, so we'll talk about that. Eddie, maybe you want to do that, do you?
Yeah.
We'll do that in a second. But so in relation to the cycle in September, just explain how that happens.
Yeah, so basically it's a 3-day cycle. We have a team of 6 riders and 1 support fan going from Donegal down to partake in this. So initially on the Sunday night, we have a reception in the US Embassy with the ambassadors holding a reception, more or less. Yeah. So we're starting on the Monday morning, and we're cycling for 3 days. So we have different visits. Every day is broken up, and we have. I'll just get this piece of paper. We start off in Dublin. We go through Wicklow and then Wexford, stopping at different fire stations along the way, and Firefighters Memorial down in Bray. And then day 2 again, we're starting in Wexford and we're finishing off in Waterford. Again, stopping at several locations along the way, and then the final day, then you're starting in Youghal and you're finishing off at the Garden of Remembrance.
Brilliant. And I suppose you're pulling in the support of the local communities down there, the local fire service, will let them know that you're landing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're all part and parcel of and it's like, as I say, as Conal said, the NRFA are working tirelessly in the background, getting the logistics all organised, So
Eddie Doherty, then on this coming Saturday, there's an event happening in Letterkenny Shopping Centre. What's that?
Yeah, Conor organised it through the management, and we're having like a bucket collection. We're going to try and get as much of your loose change or whatever you have. If you have, like the bottle half full lying in the bedroom, maybe you could come and put it into the bucket. We'll collect it, put it through. We're trying to raise as much money for Avins Pinktai as we can, because it's very expensive. Trying to keep all the support groups and everything that they have. As Conal said, like 150,000 for accommodation alone. So it is a massive amount of thing. And we have so much, when there is so many people coming from all over the world, we're trying to get as much for the charity as we possibly can.
I mean, it is a wonderful charity, and €150,000 spent on accommodation helping families is an awful lot of money when we're going through, usually going through this process. But in the wider scale of what we spend in this country, it's pittance. The fact that we're not trying to get political on it, but
like the firefighters in Bray, every time we go through, we're going to stop in the fire stations. We're running to Bray. The firefighters in Bray, they were collecting at the air show in Bray last weekend. So we're doing this bit here in Donegal, and thanks to the manager and all for letting us into the shopping centre. There's other charities, other events going on through the country to try and raise as much as we can for the thing. So we're going to be there from 10 o'clock on Saturday morning until 4 or 5 in the evening. And as we can take donations. If anybody out there, any corporate donations, anybody wants to give us anything, we'll be glad to accept it.
All the money's going towards Evans.
Every penny's going to Evans Pink Tie.
Okay.
And also we have the information if anybody wants to donate online. We'll provide you with the details,
No, we'll link that just as soon as we come off air, because the more money raised out of Donegal, the better. Isn't that right? And how will we know it's you guys down in the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, Conor?
Well, you will see us. Hopefully, we're trying to get set up in the entrance, and you'll not miss us because we have a planned we're getting 2 spin bikes as well. So we're going to stuff. If you want to come along and jump on the bike for 15-20 minutes.
I just thought, will you be cycling in full gear?
Oh no, definitely not. We'll be.
We're doing up the jerseys, with half New York, half Ireland, and
I just want to see one of you sweating on the bike.
Yeah. I think plenty of people will be sweating on the bike without the kit on. So
that's it, indeed. Conal, your colleagues in New York, do they have their own? Are they raising funds for their own?
They're raising funds for a charity. It's called Friends of New York, Friends of Firefighters New York. It was set up post 9/11, so it was set up by Nancy Carbone. She is a psychologist and mental health expert. So she set this up. She's seen that obviously the post-traumatic stress syndrome of what happened on 9/11. So she set this charity up thinking it'll last a year, and it's going stronger today than it ever has. So they provide mental health services, post-traumatic stress syndrome services, counselling services. There's so many things there.
It's
for the families,
remarkable the impact and the long-lasting impact.
We'll give you an idea now. I think there's about 4 firefighters a month dying in New York from cancer-related illnesses.
This is chemicals that were released in the event.
They're a fantastic charity as well over there, and they're raising their own funds for theirs, and that's why they want to come over here and be seen, because this Gardner Memorial in Kinsale is supposed to be fantastic. I've never been at it myself, but they're actually planting a sapling of a pear tree that was in 9/11. So you can imagine the towers coming down, sandwiching down top of other, and this tree was got at the ground zero.
Wow.
It was nursed back to health, and it's the biggest tree now down on the centre of ground zero.
And the cutting has come.
So they cut bits off and they bring it all around the world, and it's coming to Kinsale now in September. But Danny Sheehan is the battalion chief that's coming along with Nancy, and he's kind of the organizer on that end of things, and he's getting his guys together. So we had the launch of this about 3 Sundays ago in Mullingar Park Hotel, and we had New York on Zoom, and they have extended an invitation to us to come back on the second leg of this journey now next year to travel from Boston to New York. So we thought, we'll be good, we'll get the cycle over us and we'll recover. Yep. But now we're being invited back over to New York, or from Boston, New York, to cycle through, and hopefully next year we'll be able to raise more funds, because Avon's Pink Tie has a vision now when the new Children's Hospital opens that they hope to get a piece of ground beside it and build a few apartments, and that's their dream. Look, we can all dream, and we're going to try and help as best we can. Put them funds together to try and get them that accommodation up and running.
And people have debated about the location of the site, people have debated about the cost and whatever, but at the end of the day, when it is completed, and it will be in the next year or two, and it'll be open, it is going to be a state-of-the-art facility for children, and it's our hospital as well.
It is,
it might be based in Dublin, but God forbid our children need these services. That's where we'll be going. So we all have an interest in that. And why not? Evans Pink Tie have achieved a lot. Why wouldn't they?
They have, like the guy that set it up, Jimmy Norman set it up. His daughter passed away. Her name was Avine. She wanted everybody to wear pink at the funeral. That's where it grew from. And Mick Rochford now is the CEO of it. These guys don't take wages. They're not walking away with 100,000 in their arse pocket, and you know what I mean. Like, so this is why we picked this charity, because Linda O'Connell is the administrator, I suppose, of the charity. She puts the books together and that, and she gets a bit of a salary. everybody else is voluntary, you know. So and
maybe one part-time worker.
It's fantastic.
You have to have governance in a charity. There's no doubt about
you
that.
do.
So the cycle itself, which will have 160 taking part, starts on the 9th of September, and it's going to visit a number of firefighting places of importance in Ireland before returning to the Garden of Remembrance. And the Irish firefighters are raising money to support the work of Avon's Pink Tie. As a prelude to that, there's a very significant fundraising event taking place in the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, where local teams will be very present. They'll be on bikes, the static bikes, and they're asking you, if you're in and around Letterkenny, especially everything's so car orientated now, maybe if you have a bit of change in the centre console of the car or in the glove box or wherever you tend to dump it, take that with you and throw it into the bucket. And I think Eddie mentioned too, maybe you've some plastic bottles that are actually returnable.
Yeah.
You know,
we put them in as well.
But not the ones the machine spat back out at you.
No, the ones with the R on it.
And with the lids and everything on it. Okay. Conor, there's bound to be a kinship amongst firefighters from wherever you are, because there's something particular, I think, in you. To put your life on the line, particularly I think with retained firefighters, that you're putting your life on the line and you're that person running towards the disaster whilst everyone is trying to run away from it. And I'm sure that those personality traits travel around the world. So you usually engage with these guys from New York and different accents and different backgrounds, but fundamentally there's something very similar amongst you.
Yeah, it takes a certain quality, like to sign up to be a firefighter, regardless whether it's a retained or full time, or just like you have to have that inherent want to, as you say, to enter an area of danger, to provide assistance to people in need. So, like you will have that, as you say, kinship throughout, and it'd be great to meet these guys from New York. And the New York service and the United States service is very different to what we have. But again, it's to share the experiences, share knowledge, and makes that connection basically. So.
And Eddie, we talked about raising awareness of Avon's Pink Tie, but people want to move on. So 9/11, right? 9/11 happened, awful tragedy. Build the sort of that marks it, and then everyone wants to go on with their life. I think it's actually really important too that people remember the firefighters who died on that day, and other respondees, and of course civilians, but also to remind people that many are actually living with the consequences of that. I spoke to a police officer not so long ago who was terribly affected by it. He's a professional, not a professional, he plays golf and stuff, and what have you, is visually impaired now. But there are hundreds and hundreds and thousands. Do you know the guy I'm talking about?
I do know the guy. He's actually come with us.
Oh, is he?
He's come with us.
Well,
Yeah.
I would say he would do anything you ask him to do.
Paul,
Paul, but you know, like the heroes like him that come forward and help try and continue to raise awareness of that, but don't let it hold them back either. So from the New York perspective, Eddie, I presume it's good to keep the memory of those guys alive.
It is, and the thing about New York as well is, there's so many people, we have so many relations in this part of the world that somebody in New York. I have cousins, an uncle was a policeman in New York as well, and for them people, like afterwards, the people now that are still dying with cancer, you're losing your father, your brother, whatever. This is looking after the families that's left behind. The counselling for the children and for things. There were so many people lost their lives. Even when we're stopping, like in Bray, there was a couple of firefighters lost their lives there as well. We're stopping it there, remember the memorial to them as well. So it's kind of one of them things that happens all over the world. It's a kind of a common thing that people know, that somebody knows somebody that was there on the day. Or
every time you pull the gear on, there's an inherent danger.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
you simply don't know. You
hope. We always try and talk about the good parts as well. And it's not just always on the. A lot of the time, 90% of the time, it always a good outcome when we go out. We come back and things is good. And there's always something about looking after a child. If the child, which everybody wants to help a child, we want to help everybody. But when a child is sick, in Crumlin or somewhere like that, if you'd experience it yourself, then you know that there's other part of the families left behind, and you're trying to, get this child sorted out, but there's a child trying to go to school or whatever, and we're trying to kind of do that as well. And like with the New York firefighters, they've seen so much with cancer, so they know.
340 first responders have died of 9/11 related illnesses.
Like one fire station went out, and none of them came back. One full fire crew, like had one firehouse left in New York, and none of them returned home.
It's amazing. Yeah. Right, so how many of you are cycling, taking part in the actual cycle?
There's
any of you guys, all three of you?
No, well, two of us.
Two lads
two of us. Eddie's a support. There's another 4 guys in Donegal as well.
Brilliant.
So
so there's a few fellas.
but,
Can I name the lads? And Seamus McLaughlin, Karen Donna, Seamus Mason, Mickey Donaghy in Buncrana, Eugene McCafferty in Milford, Connell, and Connor. Who else?
I think.
Is that the 7 cyclists? And then there's a few of us in support then.
Yeah, which I think is tough as well.
Yeah, it is
very tough.
We're
supposed to be out training.
I'm afraid my patience wouldn't be.
But somebody said that they picked Dublin to Cork because it's all downhill. I don't know.
You know, you'd be joking, but you'd be joking. But if I were asked to cycle Mizzen to Malin or Malin to Mizzen, something in my head would go, Malin to Mizzen is downhill. Anyway, I'm sure it's not. Right, okay, brilliant stuff. Anything you just want to mention just before we wrap it up? I'll remind people about Saturday and all too in advance.
No, just we'd like to get everybody's support. We have like the counties. We're travelling through 5 counties, and all them local authorities in each of them counties are supporting it unbelievably. Like I'm overwhelmed how to support that anything we want, like the Coheracks and all them counties and local authorities. They're pushing it. They want this done. You know, they're giving receptions when we come through, and you know, so there's 3 days. There's 360 kilometres. There's 80 firefighters. We're stopping in 17 stations for 2 charities. We're stopping at 2 memorials, 2 nations coming together.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, you know? We'll remind people of that. Now, obviously, unless you know people down there or you're down yourself, you'll not be able to contribute through bucket collections or whatever from the 9th of September over the third 3 days. But thanks to the wonders of modern technology, there is an online way you can support the Donegal guys, because it would be doing that. If money's coming out of this region, it's going to be supporting these guys in their efforts to raise money for Aveen's Pink Tie, which is a children's cancer charity, which is an embrace and support for families who are dealing with diagnoses and the treatment process. It's an incredible charity, as we said earlier on, one you hope you never have to engage with, but it's there if one might have to. And as part of that too, if you're in and around Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bring your change and your bottles. Change might be handy. Your bottles is welcome too. Eddie said it, so that's fine. You take anything, and as I say, it'll mean that they've it gets the fundraising kick-started in earnest. Okay, listen, Conor McGuigan, thank you so much for joining us. It's been lovely having you in. Conal Kane and Eddie Doherty. And stay tuned to our social media. We'll get that link up for you if you want to drop a $5 or something, or even more. It depends how generous you want to be to support the guys taking part in this cycle. And just final reminder, look out for them in the Letterkenny Shopping Centre on Saturday.
Tonight at the 55th Clonmany Festival, there's Derek Ryan. Tomorrow, Thursday, don't miss Nathan Carter. Log on to clonmanyfestival.com for a full programme of events.
The Jive Time Show will be coming live this Friday from DMG Motors, Clare Road, Donegal Town, to celebrate the launch of the brand new Cupra showroom. We'll have music, chat and some great giveaways on the day. Why not join us from 2:30 to 5 p.m. and see for yourself the brand new range of Cupra at DMG Motors, the new home of Cupra.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
People all over Ireland have smart meters, just like Niall.
After mine was installed, I signed up for a free ESB Networks online account. Anyone can, regardless of who their supplier is. Now I actually understand how I'm using my electricity. This has helped me pick a tariff that's right for me.
Niall's home is just like the other 1.8 million homes in Ireland that have a smart meter. Start seeing how your smart meter can work for you and sign up for your free online account at esbnetworks.ie. Join us to deliver a smarter, cleaner electric future. ESB Networks, energising your everything.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Support local at McElhenny's. With 53 years experience in fashion, beauty and home, we're here for you. Plus, enjoy M-Card rewards when you shop in-store at McElhenny's Ballybuffet.
So cloudy this morning with showers for many, though the showers will ease in the afternoon with sunny spells developing. Temperatures 16 to 18 degrees with moderate to fresh southwest west winds easing later. It is the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio. We will have business matters for you a little later on, and so much more besides. Now, we were speaking to a lady last week on air, and we speak to people off air as well. And there is a desperate need for housing for many, many people. Are they classed as homeless? I'm not quite sure. They might be living with family, or they might be going from house to house, couch surfing. It all depends on the status of them. But there are many people in this area, in different areas of the county within this region, who simply cannot afford to rent, to have a house, to have a roof over their head, a stable place for themselves, so they can go to bed at night in comfort, or to raise children, or whatever it might be. It could be because of defective concrete. There's a myriad of reasons. Jade joins me on the programme now. Jade, what's your situation, Jade?
Well, my situation is I was given a rent review by my landlord in May, which is a 90-day notice review, and my rent is increasing by 140%.
From
I'm
what
in
to what?
Buncrana. From 520 per month to 1,240 per month.
Right. Wow.
So, and obviously Buncrana, I understand rents in Letterkenny and places are high because obviously you've got the county's hospital, you've got university, you've got a number of different things, but in Buncrana the rents are not normally as high. But given the ongoing situations we're facing,
listen, when you're renting, you know the landlord can pull the pin at any point. But you're almost 10 years in this current home. I presume much of the rearing of your children has happened in that house, Jade. This must have come as a terrible shock to the family.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, I'm not saying landlords shouldn't be able to increase rents or that all landlords are bad or anything like that.
Understood.
But 140% is shocking. I know there's a lot of good landlords out there who work with their tenants and take care of their properties, but I mean, it is taking advantage of the system by raising a rent by 140%.
How long have you got in your current home?
Well, my rent is due to increase now on the 22nd of August, I think it is. So, and I've been trying to find somewhere else since I was given the rent review. And obviously I've been to the RTB, but because there's no rent pressure zones within Donegal, there's nothing they can do. It's not illegal for the landlord. It's immoral, but it's not illegal.
So, I mean, you're looking now in and around Buncrana. I presume the kids are in school. I don't want to presume anything, Jade, or you're working maybe in the local area. You're looking for what kind of a property and where?
Well, Buncrana mainly, but anywhere kind of within the Inishowen area. Yeah. Just anywhere for us to live that isn't just taking the mic, really.
And obviously you're a very good tenant because you're 10 years in this property. The landlords decided for their own motivation to increase the rent, but there's no issues there. There's no issues with you or your family to move into another property. It's just about the financial pressure at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I understand my rent was relatively low, which, and as I say, I understand landlords have to increase it, but just the amount it's been increased by is absolutely ridiculous.
What size of property are you looking for, Jade?
Well, probably 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and I mean, the time pressure on you here is actually having to find the 1,240 per month, or is there a date that you are actually moving out of the current house?
Well, no, I can't move anywhere until I find somewhere else. And as I say, even if it wasn't me being obviously a single parent, there's many families that have 2 salaries coming into the house that would not be able to afford that rent increase.
Yeah, but the headline says, I saw a headline that says you're facing eviction. You're not actually being evicted. It's just that you're being priced out of the house.
If I don't, I think, no, I didn't say it, but if I don't pay the rent increase, I will be evicted then,
Exactly, but you're being effectively priced out of the house given your means.
Just
in fairness to the landlord, because you're going to have to work with other landlords, and whilst it might feel like it's a constructive eviction, it's not an eviction at all. Okay, so anyone out there who has a property, 3 bedrooms would be perfect around Buncrana or anywhere out in Inishowen, who could help Jade and her young family out would be very much appreciated. And I think even sort of, Jade, you've conceded that it seems like the impossible, but there's so many people in your situation that are stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. You see, the main problem lies with the government is because they're not introducing any rent pressure zones given the migrant crisis and other schemes that are being introduced where landlords can get tax-free rents coming in. So there is nowhere to go.
Like
There's
12,
no houses.
If in a rural part of the country where rents are 1,200 to 1,500 euro, if that doesn't require a rent pressure zone, you'd wonder what actually would.
Yeah. You see, that's where the main issue lies. It is all to do with not having rent pressure zones in place.
All right, Jade. Well, listen, it's a long shot. I think you've conceded that yourself. It's good to highlight. I wish you and your family weren't in that situation, but you just never know. There might be a person listening that wants a nice, quiet family in their house long term, and might contact us, and we can put them in contact with you. We just simply don't know, Jade. But you never know until you put it out there. I wish you and your family the best of luck going forward, Jade. I would not like my mortgage to increase by 140%. I simply couldn't pay it. I'd be in the same situation as you and lots of people listening. You know, you're one landlord or bank's decision away from being in the exact same position you're in, and I just hope you get through it, Jade, and get a nice place for you and your family.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, take care, Jade. As I say, we all concede it's a long shot. Anything coming up in and around Buncrana that you would like to have long-term renters, Jade and her family, let us know. We'll pass it on.
New this week in Home Store and More. All Rattan garden furniture sets and all outdoor cushions are all half price. But better hurry, because when all our half-price Rattan garden furniture sets and all our half-price outdoor cushions are gone, they're gone. Also, light up your garden with our extensive range of solar lights. 33% off all solar lights. That's right, 33% off all solar lights. Drop by your local Home Store and More or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
We love better value at Dunnes Stores, where you can save in the aisle and stock up on all the essentials. 24-roll family packs of Andrex Classic Clean toilet paper, now just €12. And keep your furry friends fed for weeks with Win-A-Lot and Felix 40 packs, now just €20. Plus, you can save at the till with our 10 off 50 grocery vouchers. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used in the next grocery shop of €50 or more.
iMotors are now carrying the largest range of pre-owned cars in the Northwest.
Don't settle for just any car. Choose the one that suits your style and budget.
Visit imotors.ie to explore our extensive range with 20 plus brands to choose from and find your next car today.
Or call into our showroom in Letterkenny or Malin.
iMotors, fearless generation.
It's that back-to-school time at Brian McCormick Sports. Asics, Adidas and Under Armour kids trainers. 20% off. Back-to-school backpacks. 20% off. Adidas all-black tracksuit bottoms only €20. Back-to-school footwear. 20% off at bmcsports.ie.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €5.5 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
It's 11 o'clock. Let's get a news update now and say good morning once again to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. A Letterkenny councillor says Uisce Éireann must address water supply issues in the Bomini, Tullygay and New Mills area as a matter of urgency. In a statement to Highland Radio, Uisce Éireann says it's working on a long-term solution, including the feasibility of an additional pump station. However, Councillor Donald Mandy Kelly says he was previously told work would start before the end of March this year. He says ongoing delays are unacceptable. Uisce Éireann, he says, should immediately install an extra pump at Ballymacool as an emergency measure and progress a long-term solution as quickly as possible. Almost 5,000 people died in the country's emergency departments in the last 5 years. Letterkenny University Hospital had 40 emergency department fatalities last year compared to 21 in 2019. Sligo had 38 last year compared to 18 5 years ago. The chair of the Save Our St Joseph's Hospital Action Committee says he believes the suspension of respite services at the facility from last Friday is a temporary measure, and services will be restored when fire retardancy works demanded by HICWA are carried out. The suspension of services was raised last evening by local councillor Dakota Nick Fenman, with no immediate state from the HSE. On today's 9 till noon show, the Action Committee Chair John Gallagher hit out at the HSE, saying his understanding is that the situation is temporary and alternative arrangements are being made, but he says the HSE simply isn't communicating that to the public. A teenager has died in a collision in County Kildare. The single car crash happened on the Clane Road in Selbridge at around 10:30 last night. The 19-year-old man was pronounced dead at the scene. The road remains closed. Community childcare and Meals on Wheels services are to benefit from a funding boost, an extra €10 million being invested to be shared among 400 community providers across the country. Each will receive up to €25,000. And hikers are being urged not to climb Errigal Mountain today and tomorrow. A helicopter is helping carry out vital works in the area. The pathway, which was severely damaged by heavy rain earlier this year, is being repaired. There is a stop-go system in operation at the moment on the back of Errigal Road adjacent to the car park. And we're back with news headlines again at 12 noon.
Thank you very much indeed, Donal.
Darren knows these roads. He knows every turn, every tree, every person's house. He knows when he wants to put his foot down. But here's something he doesn't know. He doesn't know that Jim is searching for his phone and has taken his eye off the road, just around the corner ahead. Darren doesn't know this. But they're both about to find out very quickly. Even if you know the road, you don't know what's coming. Say no to speeding. A message from the Road Safety Authority. Visit rsa.ie.
Okay, Mark English is due to get his third Olympics underway, which is really quite remarkable. He is running in Heat 2 of the men's 800 metres, and they're just lined up ready to go. He was been speaking about it. He believes he's in with a good chance. He's run a season best 1:45.14. That was during the World Athletics Championship. He'll need something close to that, or even better, I suppose, perhaps to qualify. He's in a very tight field. We're going to have reaction and the result of that race for you very, very shortly. So they're actually up underway now. Shall we watch it? Shall we keep watching it here? Mark English is running. I'm not an athletics commentator, but he's running, it seems to be in lane 3. It's 800 metres, so it's going to take a while. He's in a decent position. He's in third at the moment, though it's such a long race. Perhaps that doesn't really count for much now, but he seems to be in a good position in third place there. They're well over 100 metres now, just 35 seconds into that race. And I don't know Mark English's style that much. I don't know what his kick is like or when he begins to kick or what have you, but I'd almost stick the RTE commentary up, but I don't think we have permission to do that, and probably end up getting the sack. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be coming up very shortly. They're on the final lap now. Mark English is in third position, but as I say, they are well bunched at this point, and they haven't really kicked on yet. A caller says, if the rent situation keeps going like this, we'll be back to the days of tenements, one family to a room. You just hope, though, that the government begin to fulfil promises in relation to the delivery of housing. There has been an awful lot of commencements, but in fairness, they're in and around the population areas, the likes of Dublin and Connacht. Okay, they're not too far now from the finish line here. Mark English still in third position. He's running a very strong race. He's actually moved out to the second lane, and he's pushing on. Have I got the right guy? I don't want to mislead anyone. But it looks like he has finished second in a time of 1:45.13. Wow. Mark English, well done. That seems significant. Okay, we're going to have some reaction to that very, very shortly, but that's just happened live here. Mark English has ran a fantastic race there, and he has run 1:45.13. So he said he needed the race of his lifetime. It's not necessarily the race of his lifetime. It is actually 1,000th of a second quicker than the season best he ran at the World Athletics Championship, which is really quite remarkable. That was 1:45.14. He's ran 1:45.13. And as I say, by my reckoning, that would, I don't want to say it because I'm not sure, but I mean, if you finish second, that qualifies him for the next round, no doubt. Okay, stay with us because I'll get someone on who knows more about that than I do. Declan's with me now. Hi, Declan.
Good morning, Greg.
Good to chat to you, Declan. Right. People who travelled the Loch Salt Road would have noted around about the time of the rally, I think it was over that weekend, there was a section of wall that was obviously crashed into. I don't know what happened to it. It fell into the lake, and since then there's been a barrier up. A couple of weeks after that, there was another car that went into the lake. I'm not sure if it went through those barriers. I believe it may well have. Mark English, by the way, is qualified. He had to be in the top three, one of the fastest none in the top three to qualify. So well done to Mark. So sorry to distract there, Declan, just keeping people up to date. And it's on, particularly if you're heading towards Carragard, you could get caught out by it. What's your concerns, Declan? Because you posted this on your social media.
Yeah, well, Greg, I suppose you're after saying there it took place. This accident occurred on the weekend of the Donegal Rally, which was 20th of June. We're now almost into the 20th of August, 2 months later, and it's a very, very busy stretch of road. It's the main road now leading from Letterkenny to Downings, Carrigart, Glen, and we've had a few bank holiday weekends since that, and with a lot of northern visitors, people who wouldn't be aware of that road. There's no signage to say that there's a part of the wall down or anything like that, and it's on a bad bend. There has been 2 cars have went into it in the last since that, but it has been hit several times before, and that is probably what has weakened that wall.
And what is the delay? Do we know? I mean, we can only speculate, can't we, as to what is the delay in getting this section of wall repaired?
Well, Greg, we all know what happened. It's still fresh in a lot of people's minds from the 10th of May 2004, where unfortunately a young man from Downings, Declan Duffy, who lost his life due to it's a very, very foggy part of the road. It's a very, very foggy, that Loch Salt Road, Loch Salt Mountain area is very, very foggy, and the councillors fought for years before that to try to get a barrier on the Loch Salt, but as we all know, it has to take an accident or somebody to lose a life before action is really taken.
Yeah. And the problem is too, Declan, this is where if a car comes down that hill past that water building or whatever it is and they lose control, this is where they're going to go off. So in other words, the car went off in a typical spot that put the wall down. There's no protection there now. There's just barriers that you can't see until you're around the corner. If you go through that at speed, you're going into the lake, and as we know, it's an incredibly deep, deep lake. Parts of that wall have been repaired with breeze blocks before, so it's not necessarily about repairing it in keeping with some of the older wall that's there, Declan. It's literally about getting people on site to actually do it, I think.
Well, look, there's probably going to be a lot of questions asked. Do we put up a shuttered wall? And then there'll be people maybe to turn around and say, oh, well, we can't put up a shuttered wall because it won't blend in with the area or whatever. It'll probably have to be rebuilt again with the stone, and I would say face it with a barrier. It needs a barrier on that corner, Greg, and sooner, later the better. I have spoken to an official councillor, and an engineer has looked at it. He promised me that it won't be done before the end of the month, but it is on the agenda, and it is going to be looked at because they know themselves that it's a priority, and they know the volume of traffic that's on that road.
Yeah,
and they do not want a repeat of what had happened back in 2004. And another thing is, Greg, if somebody was unfortunate to go in there, there is no coverage. There is no phone coverage in that area.
Mm-hmm. As you say, it's a busy road. It's a busy road, but it's not always busy. So if a car were to go in there at certain times, Declan, the person could, the person or persons actually, could be there for a long time without help, and indeed could perish whilst waiting for it. Do you know what I mean? You're quite right in saying it's very busy, but it's not always busy. And also, there is zero coverage there. It's a complete and utter black spot. So getting that repaired is a matter, because those barriers have definitely been hit. Cars have gone in, and they've been hit on numerous occasions, because you can see they've been disrupted. So it's a matter of urgency. I think, Declan, everyone might agree.
Yes, well, look at whenever I highlighted on Sunday evening, Greg, I was shocked that it wasn't highlighted before now, if you want the truth. And when I highlighted, I got numerous of private messages from people, like, thanking me for what, for bringing it up. And I said, look, we all know that it's the main road that we're travelling on every day from Letterkenny, Kilmacrennan, and to Glen, Carrigart. And as I said again, we don't want a repeat of what happened before, Greg. And I think that that there needs to be a meeting very, very shortly with Donegal County Council as to when this is going to be repaired.
Yeah, because we had already one very lucky escape. There was a small white vehicle went in there, and thankfully the person got out, but it could have been very, very different. And neither of us want to be proven to have flagged this, you initially, but also through this show, and a tragedy to happen, because we don't need reminding that tragedies do happen, and tragedies happen in this area, and we don't want to be reactive. Let's be proactive and get it sorted.
Yes, 100%, Greg.
All right, Declan, thanks for helping us highlight it. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you.
Bye. So as to say, if you're familiar with that road, you won't notice it really coming back towards Letterkenny, but certainly heading out the way, it is something that needs attention as soon as is possible. A caller says, I broke 2 bones in my back 2 years ago. I had to wait a full year to get a physiotherapist in St. Joseph's for them to turn around and tell me they were no longer doing it there. Still on a waiting list to get into Lifford now. They told me I wasn't urgent to be seen after breaking my back. A complete joke. Can you imagine what that person's living through? And to be told that they're not an urgent case. Probably because they've grinned and bared it for 2 years, even though they need the physiotherapy. And I think it's Lifford and Donegal Town, is it, that those services are being provided? Okay, so Mark English is through to the semi-finals of the 800 metres at the Olympics. He finished second. He said he had to run the race of his life. He'd have to run the races of his life, and he's not far off it. Patsy McGonigal's a former Olympic coach and Finn Valley AC, regular contributor to us here at Highland Radio, of which we're incredibly grateful, Patsy. He looked strong. He looked very strong there.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, Greg, I've just sent him a message immediately afterwards to say it's the best race he's ever ran at a global championship. He's ran at all of the major championships over a long period of years, World, Olympics, and so on, and European championships. That's the best I've ever seen him. Really, really, really. As you say in the introduction, he had to run the race of his life. He ran the race of his life. He was up on the line to win the heat, 1:45.13. He covered everything. He was outstanding.
And in terms of how he run that, because you've watched him, obviously trained with him, Patsy, he stuck with the leaders from the beginning, and obviously then he knows when he has to kick on. Was there anything tactically different, or was it just his pace and how he controlled that race for himself?
He controlled the race for himself. Very aptly put, Greg. He did, and he was always in a position to nail it when it really mattered, because yourself, you've watched it there. Everybody watched it coming off that last bend. Everybody's up on their toes and they're driving for the line, and he put himself in a good position, and he was strong enough to get to deal with whatever was going to happen, and he seemed to have reserve, and he was able to change gears when he needed to. That didn't always happen in the past, but today he had it in every respect, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited about watching that performance, and because there have been other occasions when he was learning, in the early days, and he didn't get through the first round. Now he's in the semi-final of the Olympic Games. It's exciting for not only Finn Valley Athletic Club, but for Donegal Athletics particularly.
Obviously, his preparation and peaking, he seems to have done that perfectly, because, as you say, he had a little bit left in the tank. He's looking towards the semis, and he'll also presumably looking towards the final. Did you see enough in that performance to let you know, and also your information that you know, Patsy, that he's got this spot on to give himself the best chance?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's in the best form of his life. I mean, this season has gone extremely well. He's broke his own Irish record on a number of occasions, and you know, I've related that weekend after weekend on Highland, and you know, it's been so positive right through that season and right through that summer season. So yes, he's in great shape. You know, right, the semi-final is going to be a different ball game. Of course it is, and it's the Olympic Games, and you always have to keep telling everybody this. And but he is a rest now, and he doesn't have to get into the referee. So you know, he doesn't have to make another effort to qualify. So he's clear, he's qualified, he's in the semi, and you know, he can mentally prepare right now for that, and just study the start lists for the semi-final. And but it's going to be dog eat dog in the semi-final. It's only two per heat, plus the two fastest. There'll be 3 heats, and you know, there are so many. I mean, obviously, Mark ran fast this year. He broke his own Irish record. He made the qualification to the Olympic Games. But there are athletes in there who are running, 2 seconds faster, and 2 seconds in an 800 meters is a big deal. You know, so but. Championship athletics is championship athletics, and you know, we'll have to wait and see. You know, nobody breaks world records, not very often anyhow, in championships. So it's going to be a race. It's going to be a real race.
Well, we saw it last night. The American athlete, his name escapes me. No one was talking about him at all. He ran the race of his life and collected his gold medal. 145.13, and he's ran a season's best, I think, previously 145.14. So the margins are fractional. Patsy, how quickly do you think he thinks he can run and might need to run to get into the final? I mean, to shave a second off it would just be almost unbelievable, if you know what I mean. But how fast? What time do you think he needs to get to get into the final? And do you think he's capable of it?
No, you see, I'm kind of reluctant to answer that question,
okay,
Greg,
that's fine.
because really at the end of the day, he's got it's a race, like any race, like any true run race, and he's got to deal with the race. So you know, it's likely.
And you know what, a fastest qualifier in one heat could be quicker than the winner in another. So I suppose it's such an open-ended question. It's no point speculating.
Yeah, it's just sorry for butting in on you, but it's just that championship athletics is about reading the race as you run the race for the athlete, and he's got to respond, and he's got to stay in the race, and he's got to respond, and you know, that's he knows this. He knows this so well. So you know, it's going to be about beating the other guy, really, and it's going to be about all of that. But you know, we're just taking a lot of delight right now in the fact that he's in the semi-final, and you know, we've seen how difficult it is. You know, I mean, 400 meter runners yesterday morning, the three of them, or Monday morning, the three of them, you know, only Adeleke came through, really, you know, and the other two girls who are and have been doing very well at European level, you know, needed to just break personal bests, etc., and they didn't, and you know, they didn't progress. So I mean, it's real wake up time now, because you know, Ireland did so well in the European Championships. We were on such a high, and you know, rightly so, and but I kept telling everybody, get this in perspective. The Olympic Games is an absolutely different ball game, completely. And you know, Adeleke at the end of the day is going to be our only hope for a medal in these Olympic Games in athletics, really.
Yeah, okay. But listen, we're getting another day out with Mark English. I mean, it's remarkable what he's achieving at the stage of his career, Patsy. The extra level of commitment he might have to put in compared to someone with not quite, he's only young, but you know what I mean, in athletics terms, with not as many miles on the clock, with everything else he's got going on in his busy life, to come out of this little northwest part of this tiny little rock on this globe and to be getting into the semis so far, it's just it's actually hard to put it into context how remarkable achievement even that is at this point.
It is, Greg, and he is, and you've just summed it up there. He's an inspiration, really. He's been an inspiration forever and ever. With the support of his family, his club, and all and so on. He's done so well, and he's dealt with that world of elite athletics, performance athletics. He is a European medalist on a number of occasions. He was our Donegal Sports Star of the Year on a number of occasions, and he is an inspiration. And I don't know what will happen after these games. I mean, obviously he is a medical doctor. He did take quite a bit of time off in preparation, obviously, for these Olympic Games, and he may go back, to his medical practices again pretty quickly. So basically, we'll read that story in time. But right now, he's a credit. He's an absolute credit to his family and to Donegal Athletics. And this morning proved it once again. We may not see the like of him again. He's been our greatest athlete in the history of the sport here in Donegal. So we just need to celebrate him.
For sure, and as I say, he's given us another day out so we can continue to do so. Patsy, finally, is it too soon to sort of reflect on the track and field for Irish athletes? I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, the European is a continent. This is global, pulling people from all over the world. But have you drawn any conclusions as to how we've done compared to the Europeans, or where we need to go into the future, or is that for another day?
It's probably for another day, but you're always sitting there thinking, we should do this, we should do that, but maybe it's best to leave it until the game is over and talk about it, But I always suspected this would be the way it would break out, that Adeleke would be the only option for a medal. That's still the case, and hoping that Mark could get into a semi-final. Sarah Lavin got into a hurdle semi-final this morning. Great credit to her. But that there is, and people need to understand there is that variation between the performance level at European level and the performance level at Olympic level.
Well,
and
I have
the
a load
global,
of questions.
global,
I have loads of questions I'd like to ask you, but I'm going to respect your wishes, and we'll leave it till after the games. But there's not, because, does anyone know any more than you, Patsy? I'd love to put a few questions to you after the fact. But we'll look forward now to the rest of the games and Mark in the semi-final, which is a fantastic achievement. The semi-finals of the global Olympic Games. It's unbelievable. Go ahead, Patsy.
And just people want to watch. Adeleke's in the semi-final tonight, so she's got a tough semi. She needs to make the top two. So if people want to, get on and watch that tonight. It's on about 7:30 or 8:15 or something like that. So, that should be exciting. She is
a talent.
Adeleke and athletes like her don't come along too often. There hasn't been very many of them.
Thanks so much, Patsy. Really appreciate it. That's Patsy McGonigal, a former Olympic coach, and of course, Mr. Finn Valiesi, I dare say, celebrating Mark English finishing second in his heat 2, qualified for the semi-finals. He ran the race of his life. As Patsy White rightly pointed out there, we have to manage our expectations as well, that it's quite likely he would need another 1 or 2 seconds off to progress even further. But hey, things have happened. You never know. So we shall see. But a remarkable achievement, and I'm so proud of Mark from us all here in Donegal. I'm sure we all share in that. Right. I'm going to take a break, and then we'll be back with more in the 9 till noon show. Any comments, by the way? 086 60 25,000. We love them. Give us a call too at 07491 25,000.
The Buncrana Golf Club development draw is getting closer, and so is the chance to win big with over €40,000 in prizes. With the first prize, a Hyundai i30 N-Line, and 4 amazing prizes worth over €10,000. Tickets available at driveathomedraw.ie or any club member. Your name could be on the winner's ticket. Get your ticket today. The draw takes place the 31st of August. Good luck, and thank you for your support.
TFI Local Link operates evening and weekend services throughout rural Ireland to help you stay connected 7 days a week. We know life doesn't just happen 9 to 5, so if you're commuting, shopping, visiting family, or going out in the evenings or on the weekends, let TFI Local Link take you there. Visit transportforireland.ie.
Check out SuperValue's Real Rewards prices. Scan your card or app and get 7-Up, Club and Pepsi 18-can pack range, now €10. And Doritos 140 to 180 gram range, now $1.50. Plus, save even more with weekly vouchers on the Real Rewards app. Make real savings every week at SuperValue. DRS applies.
Century Complex Letterkenny are holding their annual Charity Family Fun Day in aid of St Bernadette's Special School and Little Angels School on Wednesday the 21st of August at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Check out Century Complex social media pages for more information on how you can help support these charities whilst having fun on Wednesday the 21st of August.
Are you looking for a change in career? iMotors are recruiting for a parts advisor role, an exciting fast-paced role within the motor industry. We are looking for someone who has a drive to succeed and perfect their craft. No experience needed, and knowledge of cars is a major advantage. Please send your CV to reception@imotors.ie.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
26 past 11.
Business Matters on Highland Radio is brought to you by Local Enterprise Office Donegal. If you have an idea to start or grow your business within Donegal, contact the Local Enterprise Office team to find out more about the supports available for businesses. See localenterprise.ie/Donegal.
All right, it is actually 27 minutes past 11. It's just one was following on from the other there, and I had to crack on with it. All right, Chris Ashmore is in studio with us, as that jingle would have strongly indicated, because we're previewing Highland Radio's Business Matters podcast and also getting a bit of news. Right, okay, this is all in a different format. Not sure what's going on. New bank, Raisin Bank, set to set up the Irish market. Yes, okay.
Okay.
So
no,
this
something.
is a separate one then, look, yep. And then this, yeah. We good?
Yeah. Well, I think we're good.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, good stuff.
You
Raisin Bank.
listeners may hear about a bank called Raisin Bank. They're pushing. They've been in Ireland a couple of years, but there's a big push on from them now. Now, essentially, what they're doing. You sign up, you log in, and you have access to over 80 savings accounts from 17 banks across Europe. Now, the whole thing here, Greg, is that the interest rates that they are offering, say if you've a sum of money, you want to put it away for a year, you can get up to 3.65% interest. Now, a lot of the Irish banks, an account, you are getting 0. It doesn't really matter.
I think 3.5 is the market leader here at the moment.
So there is, there's going to be, one suspects, a little bit of interest in this. The banks here are going to come under a little bit of pressure because people who have savings at the moment are getting very little on the savings, and European banks are paying more. So it's going to be one to watch to see, do the banks here counteract and start offering more for deposits.
I think too sometimes it's about how you access your funds, whether there's a penalty in it.
Yeah,
and all
some
that
of them
type of stuff,
but even the demand one, you can get over 3%
Wow.
on demand, which is high.
Fantastic stuff. Keep an eye out for it. It might be for you. You're keeping an eye on planning applications.
Yeah, well, always just a few more to look out for. Convoy, 24 houses. In the flax fields in the Kiltole area, that application has been finalised. There's already been some building in that area. So, look, it could be a couple of years before they come to fruition, but just to flag that there. And also just to flag, we always talk about upcoming courses that the Local Enterprise Office is bringing, but there's one of particular interest I just want to bring to people's attention. It's a green for business program, and basically this can help your business become more sustainable, ticks all the boxes, help you look at how efficient you are in your office or factory, what cost savings can be made, help the environmental footprint.
Because
blah,
also,
blah, blah.
too, while some of it's optional at the moment, there are things coming down the line that are going to be compulsory. And I think in terms of, how green your business is and what have you, there's going to come a period of time where it's not quite as optional as it is currently.
Yeah, and things like even if you're going to sell a house, of course, these days you have to have a BER certificate. So it's all going that way. And there is assistance there. There's grants there as well. So look, if you have a business, you have nothing to lose by just checking it out. You may have to spend a little bit more maybe on your LED lights and upgrading, but in the long run, if it's saving you money. So
I'm a big advocate of LED lights. They don't blow. Especially in areas where there can be fluctuation in power, particularly if you're at the end of the line and the old halogen bulbs pop all the time. They're not only cheaper to run, but they're more consistent, and they're not as big as they used to be. It's hard to tell.
That's your Christmas present sorted.
Yes, well, you'll be doing well, I would say, but I would have, between the jigs and the reels, maybe 30 LED smart bulbs. So... Can you pick something else?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing...
and I've also got as well, too, my blinds, smart blinds, yeah. No, well, you're pushing a button. Oh, no, they're remote, but also you can get them, you can buy the separate units and you hook them onto the chains. €80. Yeah, it's a big investment. It's not a big investment, rechargeable, fantastic.
You like your gadgets.
So the lights, the blinds... It's all automated now.
Very good,
and you wonder why I've got a tank. Right, sorry. How do people get more information about that?
Well, contact the local enterprise office. They'll put you in touch with the people who are specialising in that. Also,
and Leo are busy, aren't they?
Yeah, and lots going on. Even though it's August, which you think is a quieter month, they actually have a business support clinic. Now, that's online via Zoom. That's this Friday, August the 9th, from 10 to 11 o'clock. And next Wednesday, a trading online voucher workshop. Now, this is geared towards people who maybe have a website already or they want to start a website, and you can get up to 50% funding. And, that's a pretty attractive proposition for somebody who maybe wants to develop their business and definitely needs that online presence.
Yeah. Okay. Is that all the news? Indeed, website jobs.
One other thing I was thinking, I know you've always itchy feet. I just went into the Indeed website, which is a jobs website, and I was just flicking through. Well, there was one there in the new therapy.
I am headhuntable.
Yeah,
I just
now
want to
the
put
new
that on the
therapy
record.
clinic here at Aesthetics. There's a position there up to 250,000 a year. So I thought,
what would I have to do?
Well, a little bit of injecting and
no bother,
things like
perfect,
this,
anything
Botox,
at all.
And so that's. But what struck
a third
me,
of that, I will do it for a third if that makes me more
now
attractive.
You do need to have certain qualifications, and they need to train. But what struck me, Greg, was when you look through the variety of jobs that are out there at the moment. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, but people don't move. People tend to stick in jobs and give out
so
about.
You're
them
here
and
another
stuff
10 years.
You never know. You always have to have a couple of irons in the fire, Chris. Right, now we're heading west to beautiful Burton Port. There's very few places I'm happier, obviously outside of all the obvious family and all that kind of stuff, is on the sea, under the sea cliffs, looking at the sea arches, caves. It just absolutely fascinates me. I love it. Hop on the boat, head out. It's heaven.
What a queue.
What
a queue for our... Yes. Now, Manus O'Boyle from Burton Port, last year he set up a business called Donegal Sea Adventure, so he's into year 2. Essentially, it's a boat tour company operating out of Burton Port Harbour, and he runs a sea safari experience. Now, it's a purpose-built high-speed boat that he has, so... You go out, you go round the islands off Burton Port, you can go round the back of Arranmore, see the lighthouse, sea stacks, caves. He gives you a little bit of background, and there's the heritage, the culture, the history, as much or as little as you want. You can drop off at the island. So a great tour, and in this clip he...
Well, hold on a second, let's talk more about his boat, because it's a semi-rib, right? Yes. So it's agile. It can go out in different types of seas. He can get it really up close and personal, where it can be certainly, maybe you might try, I don't even know if you try some of this in a kayak, certainly you might, but you get the views of the land. There's nothing nicer as well than looking back.
Yes, it's totally different.
Looking back at
and a lot of people have never actually kind of been out and looked back. And as you say, now the boat was built in Gweedore as well, so purpose-built. He got leader funding towards that. And as you say, it accommodates up to 10 people. Also, it's pretty nippy as well, so you can get round and cover a lot of area as well.
And also, you get access to the wildlife. I mean, it's like anything. I don't think any service provider can promise anything, right? But maybe seals. But dolphins. We saw that story of, whales breaking, all that kind of stuff. There's never any guarantee, but when you're out there on the water,
what a bonus!
What a bonus to see dolphins playing around. It's just absolutely unbelievable. Sorry, you were going to cue up the clip, Chris.
I was.
Or have you?
Yeah, well, you pressed the button.
What's his name?
Manus O'Boyle.
And what's he about to explain
Now he's
to
going
us?
to tell us a little bit more about Donegal Sea Adventure.
That entails a bit of everything, really, Chris. We leave Burton Port, and just depending on the winds and tides, we'll just take a different route each time, but we'll cover mostly the same points along the way. You get a little bit of history there, and you learn about the local folklore and culture on the islands as well. And then we go out around Ironmore Island. Now, we focus on different parts of it depending on the weather, but we'll go out to see the cliffs and the caves. There's normally seals out there. We're usually, I won't say guaranteed, but 95% of the time there are seals around. Sometimes you have dolphins as well, and the odd whale, harbour porpoise. So there's a lot of wildlife there. Anyone that goes on the tour and sees a lot of this wildlife, it helps us a lot because we get the reviews and stuff from that. But the smaller islands as well, we do go in through all the smaller islands.
Yeah, indeed, fabulous stuff. It's amazing, and because of the nature of the rib as well too. Obviously, they can't go out in extreme weathers, but certainly can accommodate a bit of a swell in the sea, and you could see a puffins.
Yeah, and he does custom-made charters as well. So sometimes it's small groups, and certainly he can adapt to suit the needs. And a lot of the islands, a lot of people who go on them, who go on the trip, they mightn't even have been on these islands before. They're fascinated by some of the old derelict buildings. Some of them have got holiday homes now coming back. So much to see, and it's as you say, when you're seeing it there, looking back, and even to look back at the Donegal coastline,
if people are looking for something to do for the before the end of the summer too, and sometimes we don't do stuff, and then maybe our kids or friends don't get to do it either. But I'll tell you, getting on the ferry, and I've ticked Tory off the list now. Can't wait to go back there again. But to get on the ferry, and it pulls up to the pier, and to step off, or to get on the blue or red ferry over to Ironmore, you're in Donegal, right? And it's Donegal people, but you're stepping off into this different place, this different space. And it really is remarkable, and young ones absolutely love it as well. And even say to Tory, you've got the 45-minute steam out there, get the 11 o'clock or whatever time it runs, get the 3 o'clock back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all in one day.
Yeah, you can do so much in a day.
And I say an iron a little bit more accessible. You can bring your car there as well. But there's something nice about stepping off a ferry with no car and go, well, where do I go? Do I go up here for a pizza? Do I go over there for a pint? Or do I go over there and look at some rocks? Some of the scenery and whatever. So I can't promote enough, and maybe the Islanders don't want this, but if you've want something to do in August, obviously get a trip with Manus or what have you, but go out and visit our islands and meet your fellow Canty folk that you don't normally perhaps bump into. They're back and forwards an awful lot, but it's just, I can't encourage it enough. And on Ironmore, the services there are absolutely fantastic. Selection of bars or whatever you want to do, but beautiful scenery. Out in Tory, a wonderful hotel, an incredible young entrepreneur, Dean, isn't it? It is Dean selling coffee there in his coffee shop, absolutely fantastic. And it's a world away, but it's home.
And it's amazing when you talk to people. Now, I'm one of them. I haven't been to Tory yet, so you've beaten me on that. But so many people in Donegal actually haven't been out.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only been to.
But you know what it's like, Chris? We kind of rely on, and there's some people do fantastic work in promoting the area, right? And we look at the picture, step into Instagram, step into Facebook, go and see these places. And people are so accommodating.
And this is one of the great beauties of his business, because it's so visually stunning. Be it TripAdvisor or Facebook, so many people who go out on Donegal Sea Adventures, well, they're going to post up the photographs, and their friends see it and they go, there's a wow factor.
I couldn't do enough to promote this beautiful county, either internally or externally. I don't really have much capacity to do it, but any opportunity I do, I want to, because We've got so much on our doorstep, and it's fantastic. All right, check out the podcast in full right now, actually. You can stream it on demand, download it. It is Business Matters with Chris Ashmore, and Manus O'Boyle from Burton Port has set up his business. It's called Donegal Sea Adventures. Again, if you're looking for something to do for the last 3 or 4 weeks, don't let the weather put you off. We're not probably going to get sunny weather, but it's mild enough with the right clothes. You can go out and enjoy stuff if you've got the ability to do so physically. And also, you can listen to the programme on Sunday.
Yes, after the 6 o'clock news. And if you want to contact me, best way is by email, businessmatters@highlandradio.com.
Chris, thanks as always. It's great having you on the programme. Chris, back next Wednesday.
Uisce Éireann is Ireland's national water utility, responsible for delivering clean, safe and reliable national public drinking water and wastewater services for Ireland. For any questions about public water services or to report an issue in your area, we can be contacted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 1800 278 278 or visit water.ie. Uisce Éireann. Delivering water services for Ireland.
Get a great Clarence gift this week from McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. Buy 2 Clarence skincare products, one to be moisturiser or serum, and you'll get a choice of 3 treat-sized essentials from a selection of 10. Which 3 will you choose? This great Clarence offer is available while stocks last, in-store at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie, where the best costs less. For any skincare advice, call in and talk to the resident skincare consultants, Mary or Gemma.
Are you female, currently unemployed and looking for a new career in construction? After the success of our pilot programme, Rural Enterprise SkillNet is delighted to announce the second Women in Construction programme commencing September 2nd in Letterkenny. For more information or to apply, visit ruralenterpriseskillnet.ie. Closing date for applications is August 12th.
With the first half of the year out of the way and all our new cars out, at Heron Auto we have over 60 used cars in stock, and we also have cars arriving every week. So why don't you call down to us on the Killybegs Road, Donegal town, and we'll find the perfect car for you. You don't need to look far for your next new car. Visit Heron Auto, Donegal town, or see heronauto.ie.
Letterkenny Summer Sessions Festival presents a full weekend of concerts at the Big Top at Kiltoy, Letterkenny from the 15th to the 18th of August. Thursday 15th of August, Kneecap, Casso, The Scratch and much more. Friday 16th of August, Dance Night featuring Brian Kearney, Shugs, Will Atkinson and more. Saturday 17th of August, The Wolf Tones and special guests. Sunday 18th of August, a very special show. Queen, Europe's most authentic Queen tribute, on stage alongside the Dublin Gospel Choir. Go to summer-sessions.ie or Summer Sessions on social media for tickets and all info. That's the highly anticipated Letterkenny Summer Sessions, 15th to 18th of August.
Now, we are going to Wellness Wednesday now, and we are talking about multiple myeloma, and we have a number of guests to help us understand this and to raise awareness. First, we'll say good morning to Dr. Maria Papanikolaou, who is joining us now. Good morning to you, Doctor.
Good morning to you too. Thank you very much for inviting us here today to discuss this indeed rare disease, but not that rare in Donegal.
And I suppose, Maria, the obvious place to start is to explain to us what multiple myeloma actually is.
Indeed. But first of all, allow us to congratulate you for this initiative, for talking to people about myeloma. Indeed, myeloma is a fairly rare blood cancer that starts in the bone marrow, and it happens when certain type of cells called plasma cells, they belong in the white blood group, mutate inside the marrow and they grow out of control. Because of this growth, people with myeloma develop tumors in the bone marrow in more than one spots, and as these tumors take up more and more space inside the bones, they keep the healthy bone marrow from doing its own job, which is making white blood cells, red blood cells, and platelets.
So it's a nasty little disease, isn't it? It works to inhibit the function of the body.
It works silently, unfortunately, until it starts giving symptoms.
Well, we're also joined by Adrian O'Daly, who's a nurse who specialised in haematology, based in Letterkenny University Hospital. Adrian, good morning to you too, and perhaps maybe you can explain these symptoms.
Good morning, Greg. You can hear me okay?
Loud and clear, Adrian.
Lovely, thank you. And again, thanks for having us on the program this morning. Just following on from what Dr. Maria said, I suppose understanding that multiple myeloma is plasma cells that are affected. Once you know what the plasma cells can do within the body, then you'll get a general sense of what the side effects can be. And if I just go through a few examples, if you've got too many kind of plasma cells circulating in the bloodstream, we know that those plasma cells can attack bones. So patients presenting with bone pains is a fairly common side effect. We also know that the bones in the spine can be particularly affected fairly early on. And anything affecting the spine, kind of with pressure put on it, it can affect tired arms, tired legs, pins and needles, numbness, if the nerves become damaged. Sometimes on occasions, the vertebrae can press down on each other, again causing pain. Can also cause possible posture changes, maybe difficulty in walking, and also can cause potential alterations in patients' urinary or bowel habits.
Now, Adrian, there sounds like a lot of crossover stuff there. If you were younger, you could put it down to exercise or growing pains. If you were older,
Absolutely.
it could be down to, I've got a touch of arthritis, or if I've got a bit of bad back. I presume, like all of these conditions, the earlier we get a diagnosis, the better. Is it one of those that are so rare that we find out by a process of elimination rather going maybe testing initially for the likes of multiple myeloma?
No, absolutely. You usually find when patients present to their GPs with the symptoms we've just mentioned, and as you say, 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100, it will not be related to myeloma. But if the GPs are examining, say, for rheumatoid arthritis, for asthma, for anemia, and none of those symptoms relieve the pains, then what they would do is they would do some specific blood tests. Now, the GPs in Donegal, I have to say, are superb at identifying potential when myeloma could be an issue. They will do the blood test, they will check immunoglobulins, they might check what's called a Benz-Jones protein. They'll get those results, they'll send them in to us as a referral, and we'll make a review given the patient's symptoms, given those results, whether the patient needs to be reviewed in our clinic.
Okay, Dr. Maria, I hope I didn't pick you up wrong, but you seem to suggest, or did you, that there's perhaps a higher instance of multiple myeloma in Donegal than we might see generally speaking, or did I mishear you?
No, you heard me correctly, and this is something that has surprised me because I am originally from Greece. And when I started working here in Donegal, I have to admit that I was surprised by the amount of the myeloma patients here. I don't know the statistics, but I do know that, for example, in our day service unit on Wednesdays and Fridays, almost half of the patients that are receiving treatment have a type of myeloma.
Right.
Now, we have to admit that lately, because the treatment changed completely, this has turned to a chronic disease, which is, of course, a very big advantage because in the past the numbers were different. So the people are here with us for treatment almost forever. So as you realize, yes, indeed, the frequency is changing. But it is something, I would say, a little bit, we need to be a little bit more alarmed here in Donegal because, yes, we see it often.
And so it is a higher instance, is it, rather than a greater awareness amongst general practitioners, I suppose, that eventually you see the referrals. But the answer to that is always a mixture of both, perhaps.
Of course, the GPs here are doing a marvelous job with the way that they are assessing their patients, and they try as soon as possible to detect any markers that would indicate myeloma. And with the help of Adrian, who is organizing here to proceed with as soon as possible the imaging that is requested on these patients, we are trying at least to diagnose the patients as soon as it is possible.
Adrian, so what is the... I'll come back to you, actually, Adrian, in a moment. There was a question and it's escaped me, but it was in relation to what Maria was saying there. I'll come back to Adrian if you don't mind, because I want to also welcome Ali Byrne onto the programme, who's a board member and recently joined the board, having first heard about multiple myeloma. It was your partner, your husband, Ali, that was affected by this. Good morning to you.
Morning, Greg. How are you? Thank you for having us on, and it's great to get the talk going about multiple myeloma because it is relatively unheard of and quite rare in Ireland. I first came across the disease in April 2021 when my husband was 42 and he was diagnosed. So he had presented with back pain, and shortly before Christmas he just thought he had pulled a muscle or something, maybe slipped a disc. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case, and an MRI and imaging confirmed that he had multiple myeloma. He has since gone through a stem cell transplant in February 2022, and unfortunately he's relapsed again there just a few months ago. So he's just started his second line treatment there a few weeks ago.
And how is it affecting him on a day-to-day basis, Ali?
Day to day, he pushes through as much as he can. The treatment this time is quite tough. The fatigue and the steroids that he's on just cause him to not sleep an awful lot. He still has a lot of pain, but he's medication to help alleviate that. But we have a young family, so he pushes through as best he can and gets on with life as much as possible.
Yeah, okay. Miles for myeloma, what is this what's taking place?
So we're asking people and encouraging people to take part in a month-long Miles for Myeloma campaign where you go out and walk a few kilometers, hopefully wear a t-shirt, get talking with your friends and family, really opening up communication about the disease, how it affects people, and getting people talking, get the awareness out there. There's a great family down in Waterford that have really caught on to what we're trying to encapsulate. They've gotten their local GAA club involved, Tri Club, a couple of different companies around Waterford. So we're hoping that around the country we can get a lot of schools, clubs, families out walking for the month of September. Any funds raised will be donated towards research in the area.
Okay. I'll come back to you for a recap. Adrian, the question I was going to actually ask you, Adrian's a nurse, by the way, who specialises in haematology. Say, for instance, if we want to lessen our chances of skin cancer, we avoid the sunbeds, lung cancer, smoking, other environments. Is there anything preventative as it relates to this condition, or is it genetic? Why might we be more inclined to see more cases here in Donegal, for an example? There's a lot there for you to unpack, Adrian. I hope you can do your best.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, unlike other cancers, there aren't any specific guidelines that we can give to prevent patients developing multiple myeloma. There is a link to genetics, and we do see links in family, not often, but sometimes you'd have a mum come in and maybe a sister or a sibling come in later on. So there is a link in genetics, but we don't know exactly what the genes or the chromosomes involved are. What we would suggest to patients kind of generally is know your body, know what's normal for you. As you mentioned earlier on, we all get aches and pains, we all get coughs and colds, we all have high temperatures at times, we're tired, if things are out of the ordinary and you're just feeling, if you've got extra bone pains, you're just extra bit tired, just pop to your GP. I say GPs are superb. They'll do a blood test and they will refer on to us if necessary.
Many of us go into the GPs and actually, for some unknown reason, can try and play stuff down. I don't know if it's sort of an Irish way of sort of not wanting to be a bother, but the GPs are great, but we do have to advocate for ourselves. And unfortunately, just with time-wise, just finally to you, Dr. Maria Papanicolaou, you've talked about your patients that you'll see them forever. Is that what is the general treatment plan?
So in the difference in treatment from the other cancers, such as the breast cancer, for example, or the lung cancer, is that it continues almost forever. We call it maintenance treatment. So myeloma is a malignancy, unfortunately, that cannot be cured. And it is known that it's coming back again and again, unfortunately, even when you think that you have knocked it out completely. Okay. So the treatment is ongoing. And this is why we see our patients in the day service unit for years and years. Because right now we are managing myeloma as a chronic illness.
Yeah, okay. Finally, Ali, just Miles for Myeloma, if people want more information on that or on the condition itself, is there a website or a Facebook page?
We have a Facebook page, Multiple Myeloma Ireland, a website also under the same name. And if you want to catch any information on the fundraiser, check out iDonate and look up Miles for Myeloma. You can register, you can buy a t-shirt or donate.
Yeah, I mean, if you are affected by this or you're a family member that is, it's really important to join these various groups because people who are going through the same thing, you can identify with them better. Dr. Maria Papanikolaou, thank you so much for your time and all the work that you do. It's greatly appreciated. Adrian O'Daly, nurse who specialises in haematology in Letterkenny University Hospital, thank you. And last but not least, Ali Byrne, best wishes to your husband and the whole family because it affects everyone, as we know. It's a toll for everyone. Good day to all of you. Thank you for your time. All right.
If you're running low on worktop space, the new Ninja Double Stack Air Fryer is perfect. Raymond Swinney here from Ben Swinney Aeronix. With 2 stacked drawers and 2 meal racks, it evenly cooks 4 layers of food at the same time. Perfect for up to 8 people, saving up to 55% on energy costs compared to conventional ovens. See the new Ninja Double Stack Air Fryer at Ben Swinney Aeronix, Port Road, Letterkenny, or in the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Connect Hearing is open for free hearing tests. Our audiologist is available Monday to Friday for wax removal services at our Letterkenny clinic in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. We also offer a home visit for those who aren't able to visit us. Our hearing is our social sense. Are you finding hearing more of a challenge? Call Ursula today on 07491 13296 to make an appointment. Good hearing helps us to connect to our family, friends and loved ones. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
Evolve Clothing, biggest summer sale now on. Evolve Clothing, biggest summer sale now on. Evolve Clothing, biggest summer sale now on at Letterkenny Retail Park or evolveclothing.com.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonaher Road, Donegal Town.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhinney's. Make your sterling go further with our new cash sales exchange rate at €1.20 for every £1 spent in store. No matter the weather, visit us in Ballybuffet for all your fashion, beauty, gifting and homeware needs this summer.
Just time for the weather. Showers will ease this afternoon with sunny spells developing. Highest temperatures of 16 to 18 degrees with moderate to fresh southwest to west winds easing later. Thanks to Donna Marie and Shannon for their work on the show today.